We're Bison! We are impacted! We're Bison! We're ready to get up! We want to win! Light the fire of power and make us free! We never break down! We want to win! We are impacted! The best team!
Hello and welcome back to episode 58 of Impacted, coming to you live via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube and Twitch. I'm your host Bison, and today I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Joker, and of course, the man simply known as Steve. How are we doing, fellas, today? How are we doing?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you, my brothers. I've been waiting for Bill to turn up. I'd written him a very cool introduction to have Bill here, and he's not here. So I had to quickly think, oh, okay, what my introduction is going to be, and that's what I came up with straight off the fly. So
Pass it on to me.
Yeah,
I'm pretty impressive. I'm pretty impressive.
We got a front row seat for him.
Exactly. We got a front row seat for Mr. Gardner himself. We even gave him a special poster, didn't we? Like,
Yeah.
giving him the big, the Billy Big Buns.
He'll be here.
He'll be here. He'll be here in a bit, guys. You got to remember
He won't let Joe Doran down.
he's not.
No,
Gonna,
he'll be here in time for VBD.
He's not going to let his TNI-UK brethren down. I can tell you that now. Courtney, don't worry. He will be here. He will be here. I'm 100% confident that Ringside Bill will be here to talk about Turning Point. And it will be good to have him because, of course, he was actually there live.
Mm.
So it's going to be great to basically see or get, the perspective from someone actually physically sat. It's at Samstown while this show is going on. Now, the reason I'm saying that more than anything else is because, obviously what they see, is a little bit different to what we see. So, because obviously I'm not sure when they're, my experience of when we went to the live tapings, we didn't get any of the backstage segment stuff. And I'm not sure whether they do for the pay-per-views. So I'd be interested in find out that whether they saw, all the backstage stuff as well. I'd be very interested to see that or find out if they did. And I'll tell you, one of these days I am going to get to an Impact pay-per-view if it kills me.
Oh,
It is going to happen. Hang on. What's going on?
I think we're getting some incoming.
The man, the myth, the legend.
A front row seat for him.
Is it front row?
Hey!
Bill is here, everyone. How about that? The man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Ringside Bill W. Gardner is in the house.
Yes, that is quite the intro.
Oh, that
There
was
we
quite
go,
the
brother.
intro. Quite the intro.
Quite the intro. I was just saying to the boys, I had it all set up, and just as we were about to go live, you weren't here, and I was like, "Shit! How am I going to change the intro? I've written this badass intro. What am I going to say now?" But I still managed to get it in. So I'm happy. I'm happy now. How are you, my brother?
Doing good. Got back from Vegas, Turning Point, and all that yesterday. Was home for a couple hours, and then we decided to do a 3-hour after dark yesterday with the rest of the TNI crew. So I'm like, gotta go on with the TNI-UK guys in a couple hours when we're done. So it's been some busy. Oh, look at that, the Philadelphia mug, very nice.
Must have been knackers.
See, in honor, full of fantastic Yorkshire tea. So if you're in Yorkshire area watching the show, my Philadelphia mug is full of Yorkshire tea in honor of the legendary Bill Gardner on the show today. He's obviously from the Philadelphia area, if you didn't know. But there you go. How about that?
Yes.
See, I mean, I tell you, when I see Bill, because next time I go to Philadelphia to see my friend Tommy, I will be letting you know. And then maybe we need to go out for a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. For any of you that didn't see the After Dark, it was the return of Kalon, or Kyle, as we know, the scumbag. And he did bring up the infamous cheesesteak challenge we were going to do a few years ago. Well, I guess about a year and a half ago. He says it's going to be back on. So we'll see. It may happen.
Who knows? It would be good to have the boy back. I must admit, Kyle is a very, very fun guy. So I had the pleasure of hanging out with him in New York. In fact, that was the first time I met you, Bill, wasn't it? In real life. Yes, I know Bill in real life. When we were hanging out in the queue, and then I think we ended up sitting next to each other, didn't we? In the
yes, I think it was a couple nights. Yeah, the second night. I think you guys were in one part, then you're like, oh, let's go over there.
let's go and hang with Bill. So it was pretty cool. I think you were wearing your moose. Jacket as well then.
Yeah, I was probably wearing one of them. This is the champion one. So now that he's champion, I got to wear more of the title one.
That is the one that you were wearing at Turning Point, right?
It was the one I was wearing at Turning Point. So
yeah, I saw
that and the Palace for Vegas.
That's
for,
right.
for swinging.
Yeah, damn right.
I love Swingers Palace.
I hope
everybody loves Swingers Palace.
I hope you've watched it since, though, Bill.
I watched Turning? No, I have not seen it with the commentary.
I said I hope you've washed the T-shirt since.
Oh yes.
And did you share a drink with Mr. Penzer?
I did. We got the drink in because a lot of times, since it's on the West Coast, and normally I'm there just for the taping days, to change that 3-hour schedule, I'm keeping on East Coast time, so it's late when the show ends. But this time I'm like, I'm off when I get back, so I didn't care about it. So I stayed out late. So me and Penzer were able to share a few vodkas, and I had a good time chatting with the voice of TNA and WCW, David Penzer.
Yeah, of course, the legendary David Penzer. In fact, if you go back and check out on the YouTube channel, guys, the TNI YouTube channel, I did an interview with the legendary David Penzer, and he's got some very, very fun and interesting stories to talk about when it comes to some of the old TNA WCW days. We had a good chat about some of that stuff, and it's definitely well worth checking out. So make sure, after you've watched the show today, if you've got a little bit of time, go and check that out. It was a really good interview. If you're into the Penzer, then get over there and check that out. He's got some interesting stories about all the big stars.
Oh yeah, well, he knows them all.
Cool. He knows them all. He knows them all. So that was definitely worth checking out. Now, Bill, the reason that I thought it would be great to have you on the show is mainly because obviously you were at Turning Point, and sometimes it's not always obviously we're giving our view on what we see. Obviously via our streams or TVs or however we're watching, but I know that sometimes what you get in the audience is sometimes a little bit different to what we get on the TV or on the show. Now, one thing I wanted to check with you, because I think it was very apparent, and I've got it in my notes, that the commentary team, D'Lo and obviously Matt Stryker, were they, when they were talking like at the beginning of the show and in between matches and stuff like that, could you guys hear that in the arena?
We did. They had it on. It seemed like at random times you could hear them. Like it wasn't obviously during matches and stuff like that, but in between, or it did seem like they were mic'd up a little bit more, maybe intentionally, like at the beginning of the show, you're right, for the crowd could hear it. So they were definitely tuning into the PA for a bit.
Yeah. It was almost like it was. I thought it was great because you could hear the crowd responding to what they were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually only the people right behind them can hear what they're saying to react to. But I think that was a good idea, and it's not a spoiler, but it's something I think people I think is a good thing have been asking for. You'll see on Impact TV, they remain at ringside in the upcoming TV episodes.
I think what they need. I think what they need is to get a decent commentary desk though as well. I think they need a decent, not just a fold away with a bit of. Yeah, it's
a baby step there. I think that gets into the whole, if you want more than just normal guardrails with covers and all that, I think that's great for maybe a future thing. That's not a high priority for me. At least they're doing it and then go from there.
You know what? I'm not too bothered about having covers on the guardrails, but I think you definitely need to have a decent commentary table. That's just me. If you're going to put them in the arena, then make it a decent commentary table. It looks good, like it looks legit.
Which they used to have down at the Impact Zone when it was not ringside but on the stage, like off to the side. They had like more of your typical like branded table as opposed to one with a tablecloth over it.
Oh yeah, no, it's actually exactly what I was saying. I mean, I know it had, I know it had the logo on it and the access. It was almost like it was one of the ring, one of the ring aprons or something was wrapped around.
Yeah,
that's what it sort of looked like. But either way, it's great to see them now ringside. I think that's where they need to be. Or, like you say, there's no reason why you couldn't necessarily put them to the left on the stage at Samstown because it's a big stage.
It is.
It's a big stage at Samstown. There's no reason why you couldn't have done that. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's nice to see him in the arena. I thought that was really, really cool that you could clearly tell that they were addressing the actual audience. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, no, I think that was a benefit for the live crowd to get an idea more what's going on. Because obviously when you're at the tapings, like David Penzer will be the one between matches kind of giving you, okay, this is coming up next, things like that. But by having the announcers do it, it does add more of like the big fight feel, which I got to give credit for. Only the people that were there would know. They really treated Turning Point to the local crowd to get people there, just like a big pay-per-view. Because they weren't really identifying it as Impact Plus or anything like that. It was just a pay-per-view in Vegas. Come out to it. They had I Was There Turning Point shirts with the date. So they went all in on this live pay-per-view.
Yeah. Which is great to see. And I think a lot of the criticism of Impact over the years has been that they've not been as good at the marketing. They've not been as good at the sort of like local promotion, as they could be. And I think this is a really good sign and shows that they're now starting to, take that sort of stuff on board and start pushing now. I mean, I'm hoping that there was billboards all over the place and all sorts of stuff like that. Because we know, like, I remember about 3 years ago when I went to Vegas for my wife's 50th. That's where we went. There was a group of us. We all went to Vegas, had a fantastic time. But while I was there, it was literally about a month before All Out. So there was All Out, like banners and posters, absolutely everywhere, all over the strip, like all over the place. Which, I was like getting super jealous because I was like, oh man, why couldn't I have come that month? But not that the wife would have liked it too much. I don't think either Bison would have been too impressed with me taking her to AEW All Out on her birthday trip to Vegas, to be honest. But either way, it was that was cool, and I'd love to go there. If on at some point in the future, maybe when Impact is there.
Yeah, and I would recommend. You almost got to separate it unless you're giving yourself a lot of time, the wrestling trip from a Vegas trip for like enjoyment purposes. Because even I've been to Vegas so many times, a lot for work, a lot for just having fun, and obviously for wrestling. But I noticed this trip and even the last trip, because you got to look at it, they've now done, they did 6 dates in pretty much a month, almost less than a month, which is a lot of dates in one city. So that they got pretty decent crowds for the majority is a great thing. But when you're focused on the wrestling, like I went in there the night before wrestling and left right after the day after wrestling, that's all I did for the most part. It was like sleep, wrestling, eat, sleep, wrestling, eat. Like that was it. So I didn't really have time to do much of the Vegas stuff.
That's interesting because, to be fair, like for me, like if I'm traveling somewhere to do wrestling, that's what I'm traveling to do. So like when I went to New York, I literally lived and breathed wrestling for 3 days solid.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of those trips are. Like unless you're like, okay, I'm going to go a couple days early or a couple days late and do non-wrestling, it's very tough when you're in that wrestling mode to do anything else but the wrestling. Even if you have little breaks, you wind up doing wrestling related stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the beauty of what they're doing at the moment in Vegas, and they weren't doing it so much when I was in New York, but the beauty of the stuff they're doing now, they're doing so many meet and greets now. This they weren't doing before, outside of the actual arena. They're like,
Yep.
You can go to this place and meet the Good Brothers. You can go to this place and meet Tennille and, or whatever, whoever. I mean, I wouldn't want to meet Tennille, but,
Of course, it was Tennille.
Harsh. That's harsh.
But the bottom line is, there's so much. They're offering so much more to the wrestling fan now than what they have done in the past. And I'm for one think that's a fantastic way to go about things. That's how you get your fan base solely into your promotion, by offering all these different things that you can do. And the bottom line is, it's one thing that Impact, I think, do really, really well, because they don't overprice any of this stuff either. So, whereas, if you want, it's like, we talked about it a while ago that, when all the wrestlers started to do all the cameo stuff and, they're charging like $25-30 or whatever for a cameo, and then all of a sudden WWE pick up on this and, this could be a moneymaker. And, just to get something from someone like The Undertaker is like, like $5,000 or something, it's just ridiculous. How much money they charge for stuff.
Yeah. And Impact, they do a great job. And every time I'm at a show, like the guy that sat next to me at Turning Point, who I met for the first time, he was working in California, and it was like, oh, there's wrestling in Vegas, so I'm going to come out for the two of the 3 days, just on a whim. And he's been to a lot of the AEW shows, but now he's a converted. He's like, all right, Impact's definitely my number 2 promotion right now. By the time he left, it's like you can't beat the price, the seat, the action. He's like, that was like one of the best times wrestling. He's like, after the show, he's like, that's one of the best times I ever had at a wrestling show. That's what people don't realize, because a lot of the times people that either knock Impact or TNA in the past, it's mainly because they don't watch. And it's just, that's the cool thing to say usually is, I like this, but I don't like Impact. I know, like Trent was talking about, even the old days when the same roster was almost at Ring of Honor and TNA, and everyone was loving Ring of Honor, but they were ripping on TNA all the time when it was the same people. That's a very similar product. But yet it was the thing to do, to bash on TNA. And right now, the bashing is less than it used to be, which is great. Then that's thanks to Scott and Don and everybody over at Anthem. But now it's where it's just that the people will use either the TV deal, which they don't get, or something like that, as a way to say, well, they were bad 10 years ago type thing is we hear a lot. But if you actually go to a show, that's where you really get converted. If you just watch a TV product, you'll like it. But if you go to a show, I think that's where you become a fan. That's why I do everything to get new people coming to shows. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see new cities, hopefully back to the UK again. We know how, by going over to the UK, how loyal that fan base is. Look at you guys doing a weekly podcast from them going over there years ago. And they were outdrawing WWE over there.
Oh yeah, I mean, the draw when it comes to TV, when they were on Challenge, I mean, some weeks they were 250,000 people were watching Impact Wrestling, and the WWE on like Sky was lucky to get 50 or 60,000 watching Raw, which is crazy when you think about how big the juggernaut is. But, like I said, you could get, but the problem was you had to be a subscriber to Sky to get WWE at that time.
Yeah.
So, hang on a minute. There's this free show on a free channel, wrestling. There's a load of British guys on here. Let's go and check this out. So, and I honestly believe that the one thing, exactly, British Boot Camp. I honestly believe that the one thing to draw that UK fan base back, because it's not as strong at the moment. It really isn't. AEW is sort of kind of taken it over a little bit. But to get those people back in, we just need to get some UK talent on the roster. As soon as we do that, and I know it's been difficult to do that for the past, 2 years or so because of the pandemic, people can't travel and all that kind of stuff. So I totally get it. But now is the time. We can travel now. let's start looking at some of these top.
Yeah, I did meet
UK
a
indie
guy
talent.
when I was in line for the show that came over from the UK. He was right behind me in the queue.
There we go.
And I'm
There
like,
we go.
I'm like, what? Nobody's like the 8th. I could start doing it. I'm like, fantastic.
Yeah.
Come
yeah,
on
exactly.
over.
Come on. And I hope you you told him all about the Bison, the Joker, and the you
Oh,
know,
yeah, you got it.
TNI-UK,
TNI-UK
man.
every Wednesday. Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. What's going on? Yeah, no, we are starting to increase that UK fan base. Funny you should mention that, but I mean, we've got a few people in the chat from the UK now. Bonkers is in there. I know Bonkers from the UK, and you know, there's definitely a few in there. I'm just gonna have a little look through, see who we got in at the moment. So big shout out to Mir, big shout out to Courtney for joining us. I know you weren't sure whether you were going to join us today, but I'm glad to see you have. Zach is obviously in there, which is great to see. Zach Bonifer, we've got Violet's in the house. Lovely to see you, Violet. Paul Nelson, yeah, Mir's in the house. We've got Terrence Sullivan. You know, we've got some of the big TNI guys are in there. So Gary's here. So you know, Total Nonstop Gary's in the house. Fantastic to see you, buddy. So yeah, so we've got a lot of guys. Keith's in the house as well. And did I mention Mir? I did. I don't want to leave him out because he'll probably start slagging me off or something. So I don't want to leave Mir out. So yeah, so it's good. So it's good to see a good lot of the We Are Impacted fans in the house tonight. Well done. Nice to see you guys.
Yes,
So
and I know over here, that's what we did last night. Is obviously with the Thanksgiving over here in the U.S. coming. That was our thanking pretty much all the TNI fans, including the TNI-UK contingent and you guys for all you do here. Add to it because it is always an amusing thing we talk about where we're doing all this content as a channel and as a brand for 1 2-hour show a week. Yeah,
exactly. We put out a lot of stuff, guys. We put out a lot of stuff. You know, and I know that you know, sometimes, you know, it's hard for us as well. Like, you know, I mean, I run my own, my own business, got 2 businesses and, you know, I've got a lot going, I've got a family, I've got a lot going on. So sometimes it's really, really hard for me to do much more than what we do on a Wednesday night. And obviously, you know, I've been turning up a little bit on a Thursday as well, which I really enjoy, even though by the time I go to bed, I'm absolutely shattered.
Whose uncle is this? If the 80s don't come back and get their uncle for real.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and you know, we do enjoy it, and we do appreciate all of you guys tuning in every week. And of course, not only do you tune in, but you shout about us, don't you? Tell everybody all about us as well, which is absolutely superb, and I really, really appreciate it. Now, guys, we've been blabbering on for 22 minutes here. It's starting to get like the review show, but what we need to do.
The common trend here, Bison. What's going on?
Exactly.
And I want my pizzles back.
So I think what we need to do is we need to get cracking into the turning point review. But we're going to start. People are going to start tuning out if we don't. So,
well, and this is the official first TNI review of Turning Point.
It certainly is. It certainly is, and that's probably another reason why I thought it'd be cool to have you on as well. Because
shit, no pressure then.
no pressure, boys. Let's see what we do. Let's see how we're going to get. Thanks, Gary. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, brother. So, without any further ado, we started off with a night. What was it? The start night with the Countdown to Turning Point pre-show. Now, we had a couple of matches on this, which actually, and I think both of those matches are actually worthy of actually being on the show. But it was great to get them on the pre-show, because if you were not sure about whether you wanted to, wanted to buy, if you weren't, like I say, if you're not obviously Ultimate Insider, or if you're not Impact Plus subscriber, then you could still buy the pay-per-view via Fight. I think they were encouraging people also to sign up to Impact Plus and Ultimate Insider on the night to get Turning Point. So that's what it's all about. It's all about saying, look, this is what we're going to be doing. This is the type of stuff you're going to get to see if you sign up for Impact Plus, Ultimate Insider, or just buy Turning Point via Fight, whichever way you want to do it. And I thought it was great. We got kicked off with Finjuice versus Rohit and Raj Singh. Now, the interesting thing on this is that obviously originally this was supposed to be Decay. Now, I didn't see too much about this. Bill, maybe you'll know a little bit more about this, but I believe that there was some sort of excuse saying that the guys were in Wrestle House so they couldn't compete, which is really weird because I think Rosemary's also in Wrestle House. So that didn't sort of kind of make sense to me. But anyway, what was actually stated on why this was a change?
There was nothing stated at the show on why it was. Because I know it was announced there's a couple days, because really this whole pre-show came together the week of. Like we knew there was going to be that digital media probably, but then the tag match was just that little hint the week before, where they kind of threw that together. So I'm not sure really why it was changed like that, but no context was given to the live crowd. So like no extra insight on anything, because I think for the most part, a lot of people still, like the tickets, they didn't know there was a pre-show. So you were still having people kind of funnel in during that time. Okay. So yeah, it's anyone's guess, because it didn't seem like there was an angle for you guys either that they really went over on why. It just, maybe there was something on social media. It wouldn't shock me. Impact really goes on their Twitter account and things that they maybe put something out. That it's possible. They may have addressed it in one tweet. And that's
they may have done. Yeah, I don't know where I got the whole something about Decay being in Wrestle House. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They did announce that. I think Striker mentioned it when Rohit and Raj were coming out.
Okay. So, but that said, I thought this match, was a hell of a match. I thought it was a great to and throw match, and I have to say that Raj Singh looked very impressive indeed. Yeah. Rohit was was just as badass as he normally is. Absolutely superb. Finjuice, again, they're a class act, Finjuice. They're a great team. But like I said, my go away from this, regardless of the result, I mean, we all know that obviously Finjuice walked away with this one in the end, but I thought this was a really, really good match. And the highlight for me was seeing how good Raj Singh actually was. I mean, he looks fantastic, and his performance, I thought, in this was really, really strong. What were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the reasoning for Decay leaving or not being in the match was a bit confusing, given the fact that we still saw Decay later on. I thought Raj and Rohit both looked fantastic together, and we're basically seeing a new Raj Singh than what we saw previously, and that is fantastic. I thought the match was really good. Although I thought it was booked a little backwards, given the fact that Finjuice were on the attack more, and they are meant to be the baby faces. But yeah, I found the finish to be a little like, oh, here we go again kind of thing. I would have liked to have seen Raj and Rohit get the win, or even if Decay were in the match, I'd like to have seen Decay get the win.
Okay. And what about you, Joe? What were your thoughts on this one?
I thought the match was awesome. The match was, I was a bit gutted not to see Decay, but Raj and Rohit more than made up for it. The performance of both of them in this match was amazing. They were matching Finjuice move for move for quite a long time. But yeah, the Finjuice got a bit more offense in terms of double team moves and that, but overall, it was just such a great way to kick off the whole night. It was just a fantastic choice of guys to kick off the night with. I preferred this match kicking off than the Digital Media Championship match, which I thought was going to kick the night off. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why, because the title match would always traditionally go last, regardless. So, but for why I thought that's how it would go. But they kicked it off with an amazing match.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I make one more add? Can we get a one-on-one between Rohit and Juice Robinson? Those two, ring in ring and character work could be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I think those two would work really, really well. Now, here we go. Now, this is the perspective I'm really interested in finding out. Bill, what was this like, live?
Live, and this is something I think that I'm glad we're talking about this match first, because Finjuice, I think on TV, for some reason, doesn't come over as well as they do live, especially Juice Robinson. He really plays up to the crowd. He hams it up. He does very old school wrestling techniques. He reacts to everything. He reacts to fans. He reacts to everything in the ring. When he's not in the ring, when he's on the side, he's reacting to everything going in on the ring. So I really think that Finjuice, and I know a lot of people don't, when they say, oh, the tag division at Impact, it's the Good Brothers and nobody else type stuff and things like that. Finjuice has been there this whole time. Yes, they're New Japan, but they're there all the time for Impact. The same people that are complaining about the tag division probably say the Good Brothers are like AEW guys. They were there so much. But if you're a New Japan fan, you got to be like, well, Finjuice is never not on Impact Wrestling. And they've been fantastic in Impact Wrestling.
They have.
I know there's the rumors of Juice being a free agent upcoming. And I think the crowd loves Juice Robinson. And honestly, David Finlay, he's no slouch there either. I think I continue to use them. I treat them as a member of the tag division for sure. So I'm glad they got on the show because all of a sudden, no matter what you think, the tag division is getting pretty. There's a lot of teams now, especially this reunited Hit Squad. And obviously everyone knows how we feel about Rohit. Rohit's X Division champion in the past. He one of the true heels on the roster, which it's tough to do today. Post pandemic, we always talk about it. There's you tend to react with cheers to everyone just because you're happy to see wrestling. So for someone to still get the heat, like the Row Heat man himself, that is something, and he'll continue to do that. It's hard to imagine him ever being a face because he's so good at being a heel.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. He's what I class as like a traditional heel for me.
Yes, and that was a good way. You get the traditional baby faces, traditional heels, to kick off the show, get the crowd going. Like if you're not going to do an X Division type match, but that was what we see kind of start the main show. So they did a good job on the flow here for this.
I think so. So I was impressed with that. I thought it was a great way to start it off. We then go into the Digital Media Championship match, which was Chelsea Green versus obviously the champion Jordan Grace. Now, I'm surprised to hear what you just said there, Joe, actually, because I thought this match was pretty solid. So, what I've written here is both ladies got a pretty decent pop from crowd when they came out, and it was clear that Chelsea was very popular in Vegas. This match got off for me to a good start. We saw some technical wrestling from both ladies showing off their skills on the mat, which I thought was great to see. But Jordan eventually got into her power game and started to look pretty strong favorite to win at this point. Chelsea managed to claw herself back into the match, and we saw some great stuff from both ladies as the crowd were very vocal towards both of them, which I was really pleased to see. It wasn't one-sided at all. As much as Chelsea was very popular with the Vegas crowd, so was Jordan, which was good. Now, after several pin attempts from both ladies, we eventually, Jordan's power game was just a little bit too much, I think. When she hit that electric chair, then the Grace driver to get the 1, 2, 3. It was a pretty emphatic win for me. And obviously Jordan Grace retains the title. Now, what are your thoughts? What were your thoughts on this one, Joe? Because what you just said is made me want to hear what you thought. So what were your thoughts?
I've got no issue with the match. No issue with the match. Was amazing. I was just expecting them to kick off the night with the Digital Media Championship because it's so new, and then that would be like this is the big thing to grab everyone's attention straight away. But they went the other way around. The match was great. It lasted more than long enough that everyone would expect it to. Chelsea Green showed that. Despite not having the match, she can go toe to toe with some really, really big opponents. She took Jordan Grace to the limits, and Jordan Grace took her to the limits, and they both showed fantastic resiliency. You'd actually forget Chelsea Green still got her arm in a cast. So she's so on form and so on the ball. And like you said, the crowd was behind her all the way, regardless of how popular Jordan Grace is. And the finish was amazing. That electric chair, I think, that just reminded me so much of Edge, old school Edge, seeing the electric chair. And then to hit the Grace driver off of it was just really, really, really well put together.
I think that worked really well. That worked really well. So let's get this. So Bill, you're there. You know, you were nodding your head when I said that the crowd were clearly into Chelsea. I mean, they were into both ladies, but what Chelsea seemed to be quite popular, I think. What about you? You were there. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'll give you a little reasoning on why I think. Obviously, Chelsea's going to be popular in a lot of towns, but the Vegas crowd, you'll notice for Chelsea, for Cardona, and for Myers, they might be especially more over there than maybe somewhere else. You got to remember at the last tapings, the night before, they did that Major Wrestling Figure podcast, that big their 10th anniversary show in Vegas. So they have a large contingent that's very loyal to their brand. So no matter like if they're face, heel, they're going to cheer for that group of wrestlers, which is fine. But that you might see them even more over than normal. Like probably at the last tapings, you may have noticed like Brian Myers chance a obvious heel, but he was probably more over than he's been obviously at any of the Skyway tapings because there's a loyal fan base there of his. So Chelsea, but obviously Chelsea's very popular. She's showing up everywhere right now. Was a hot free agent. So there's a reason that she's as popular as Jordan, who's normally very over with the crowd. But definitely the reaction, you're right. So that kind of made it more even than it was probably expected to be on a reaction. And I also, and this is something because I know even Jordan pointed it out, definitely Rachel Ellering was very noticeable in this because she almost had a new look to her like that. Because normally she's like similar to like a Kylie Ray, very bubbly, but she was going for a little bit different appeal here, which was definitely standing out. And that's something at ringside. She's the cheerleader, but she's kind of adding even more to the Jordan Grace's way of being able to win, like not through underhanded tactics, but obviously as that she's her valet manager almost in a way when she comes to ringside. So. But great match. The longest, I'm sure, digital media match because normally these are only a couple minutes long. It felt like at the last set of tapings, they did a bunch of them because they're usually not that long. But this one they gave a little under 10 minutes, I think. So this was a good back and forth. You can definitely see Jordan, former Knockouts champion. There's no doubt that I think Chelsea could win this title, or even be a contender for the Knockouts title, or maybe a tag team with Deanna at some point for the Knockouts tag title. So there's definitely, I think, a big future for obviously Chelsea and Matt Cardona as well in Impact Wrestling.
Oh, definitely. And what about you, Steve? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. You know, this for me was the best digital media championship match that they have booked. Both women went completely at it. And I was invested in it start to finish. It had that feel of a big event match. And I kind of disagree with what Joe said there. To me, when you've got a match at the end of the pre-show, that kind of says to me it's the main event of the pre-show. So to have this kind of title match, it kind of felt like it should be the last match of the pre-show. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I assumed it would be that match also. But yeah, no, I agree with that. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts in the in the chat there? What do you think with regards to the Digital Media Championship? You know, this was a good match. I enjoyed it. But what are your thoughts on
For reals.
Okay. What are your thoughts on where they're actually taking this, though? You know, I'm interested in hear what everyone's got to say. So thoughts on the on the Digital Media Championship. I'm interested to hear that, and the match, of course.
Yeah.
So I think it was a loaded. I think we gotta give credit to this half-hour pre-show. That was pretty much mainly two matches the whole time. That was a tight package to get over to that crowd. Like, watch this pay-per-view. Look what we're giving you right now. Yeah. Watch the rest of the show.
Yeah, even the rest of the show was pretty packed. They only had three backstage segments, and they were pretty short.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was very match heavy, which I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, if anything, I would say this should be the test now for BTI. Yes. Put that if you do a weekly digital media match on YouTube and Impact Plus, put it on BTI as well that Thursday. Because if you're only talking a 5-minute or less match, add it to the BTI match, get 2 matches every week. You already have it. And say, and here's the digital media match of the week. Put that on there too, and that BTI show becomes, you get 2 matches a week now. Even though one's going to be like 12 minutes and one's going to be 5 minutes. But hey, you're 20 minutes of wrestling on an hour show.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a good idea, and I've said they should almost sandwich the show. So when they kick that show off, give us a match, then do some talking in between, and then end it with a match. That's sort of kind of like the way I feel it should be. But who am I? I'm my name's not BQ, so
They laughed, and they laughed, and they laughed, and they laughed.
I can't tell Impact what to do, but I'm just giving you.
It'll take all your suggestions.
You never know. But anyway, so the first, obviously, and we touched on this earlier because the commentary team were clearly on the PA system in the arena. So we talked about it earlier. So that was good to see. The crowd were getting hyped. You had, Stryker giving it the big one. D'Lo Brown was really good as well. So, we got all hyped, and then we were into the first match, which was a bloody good one. Ace Austin, with obviously Madman Fulton by his side, versus Chris Sabin. the legend, D'Lo Brown. Now, this was a grudge match. Chris Sabin wanted to rip that I beat Chris Sabin shirt off Ace's back and shove it down his throat. This match got off to an aggressive start with both men hitting hard, and we got like a real mix of sort of kind of like strong style and high flying offense from both men all the way through the match. For me, I felt this was a really, really good match to kick off the show. And after a distraction from Fulton, Chris Sabin eventually hits Ace with the cradle shock and gets the win. Chris Sabin walking away with a winner, rips the shirt off Ace's back and takes that to the back. I was very disappointed to see him not shoving it up Chris Sabin's ass. Because he could have literally taken that shirt. He could have turned it sideways and he could have shoved it up his candy ass.
In my ass.
Exactly. So, it would have been interesting to see that. But as we found out later in the segment, the shirt, with a little bit of tape on it, I am Chris Sabin. I like it. What were your thoughts on this one, Bill?
You knew this was going to be a good match. These guys keep doing this. I'm fine with keep going back to this one. We've always said that doing the throwbacks, Ace Austin is so similar to early Chris Sabin, the almost now near 20 years ago version of Chris Sabin that entered NWA TNA. And like a cocky heel when he first comes on board, so athletic, doing things you really don't see. And that's Ace Austin today. So, but Sabin is still the same guy because we talk about he got all these injuries. It seems like he's better today than he's ever been. And his character work, and I know Steve has been great at clipping a lot of this lately. His character work with Swingers Palace and everything has been awesome. Chris Sabin, this new character is just amazing. And now like this one that's like angry at the world and treating Ace how he treats him is great. But they put on a perfect match to open the show. This had to open the show. And obviously he beat Sabin earlier. So Sabin did feel like he had to win this, but I'm sure Ace will get his revenge.
I'm sure too. I can't believe it. I've been waiting for a soundbite, with Chris Sabin's soundbite, but it's not come. But never mind. Joe, what are your thoughts?
That is not an appropriate question.
Exactly. Joe, what are your thoughts?
This match was great way to kick off the night. Ace Austin has already called out Chris Sabin for round 3 after he'd seen the shirt. I followed his Twitter feed, checking out after Turning Point on Sunday morning when I was trying to find it, and Ace Austin's already said, right, so we're going to have round 3. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that comes to fruition and when it does. Ace Austin is just once again shown he is like a spitting image of Chris Sabin, like you guys said, for 20 years later. But he's still like the spitting image of Chris Sabin. And I've said it before, he's one of these guys that is, for a guy his age, you think he's been wrestling for a lot longer than he actually has. And this is just a great match. The rivalry between Ace Austin and Chris Sabin has been built brilliantly. It's right up there with Ace Austin and Eddie Edwards, and you know he's got all the OGs on Impact Wrestling putting him over. So that is a lot of investment in Ace Austin in the future.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that totally.
Yeah.
Just a quick hello to Terence and Jeff Samuel, just turned up in the chat. Nice to see you guys. And there's some nice comments coming in as well with regards to the DMC. Chris Roberts has just put in there, enjoyed the match. The DMC seems very much an easy to digest product. So quick matches, almost designed to like kind of watch on the go. I kind of get that because a lot of people have been moaning that the matches have been a bit short. And I guess if that's an interesting take, because if like you say, it could be almost wrestling on the go. You're right. It's almost a bit like, when we go on SoundCloud, it's listen on the go. It's very similar to just sort of kind of like, let's quickly get this match in. I'm on the bus, or I'm on my way in for work. Let's get this one in. That kind of thing. I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. What were your thoughts on the first match then, Steve?
Yeah, the first match, it was like Bill said, it was the perfect match to kick off. It was your basic X Division match without the X Division title. There was so many different varieties in this match: high flying, mat wrestling, and kind of underhanded like tactics and sort of cancelling out, which was fantastic. And like Striker said, they had their first turning point moment with kind of Sabin kind of booting Ace's head off on the
beating him at his own game. That was a savage kick. That was awesome.
That was but I mean, it was the finish to me was having had that Moose Bound for Glory moment for me to begin with. I was like, oh god. But then I love it now because you look at what Sabin's done recently. He has had a feud with Moose and a feud with Josh, and he's now elevated them. And I feel it's now one of those things where to get to the main event, you've got to go through Sabin.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's kind of almost saying that, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to get a third one, and Ace is going to obviously then get elevated, which is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I think this you could watch these two wrestle all day long because it's just so good.
And that is a great point that Steve makes on who Sabin has feuded with and where they went, because he obviously is one of those gatekeepers in Impact Wrestling. Chris Sabin, exactly what you want a veteran like him to do. Still can go do this, but that is what they did. They said you got to go through Chris Sabin and then you go to where you need to be. Because when Moose lost to Chris Sabin, I was shocked. I could not believe that. It was like, are you what? And I love Chris Sabin. But that shocked me because that was right in like the Moose was unbeatable run.
Yeah.
And but Chris Sabin, same thing. Ace Austin, we still thought maybe youngest world champion in Impact history, but he got stopped by Chris Sabin. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And if you feud with Chris Sabin, your future looks bright.
The only thing I worry is he said you've got to beat me without Fulton. I just don't want this to lead to a breakup with them.
Yeah, to be fair, though, I mean, at the end of the day, you could just have him not on ringside. It doesn't have to lead to a breakup, but I'm sure he could do it. Now, just quick hello to SC Williams there. Nice to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. And Jason Michaels arrived as well. They're all coming in the chat tonight, boys. Must be the draw of the ringside legend, Bill.
Undoubtedly.
He is the draw. He is the draw of TNI tonight, which is great, without doubt.
I thought the draw was Joe's dog there, because that's Sammy, right?
As
I say it on cue.
And Boomer Bison. When Boomer Bison comes in, when Boomer Bison turns up, the ratings go through the roof, mate. That's the other one. So I need to get her on more often. But then anyway. So the next match was a tag match. Was obviously VBD, Eric Young and Joe Doran. Just a quick mention here. Obviously, Eric Young is coming over to the UK in January or late January, February. I trying to sort out my tickets to get and see him. I'm looking forward to that. So
Proud
who
as a
knows?
peacock.
Exactly. He's going to be over here. I know that Wrestle Carnival have already advertised he's going to be at their show, Carnival Champions, which is good too. Yeah, there you go.
God, that's some years back.
That's a beauty, that one. And he's just been announced today that he's going to be at I've forgotten the name of the promotion now. That's really bad, and I really apologize. But they've got a show going on in Milton Keynes on a Thursday night. Now, this one is a 16+ show, so it could mean it's got a bit more adult content on this one, maybe a few hardcore matches, etc. So I'm trying my best to get some tickets to go to that one. I've got some friends in Milton Keynes, so I might see if I can stay over with them and go home on the Sunday. But we'll have to wait and see. It's persuading.
How far is that for you, Bison?
Oh, about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
It's not too bad, but it's an evening show, so it's sort of kind of like it starts at about 6:30. I think it finishes around 10. So by the time you sort of kind of like mooched around and spoke to a few people and and all the rest of it, it's going to be sort of 11:30ish. You've got to do I'll be wearing my Impacted T-shirt, so we've got to get around to the people, haven't we? We've got
to shake hands.
Exactly. We've got to shake hands, going to have to sign a few 10 by 10 by. It's going to be a few things that I'm going to have to. No, I'm just joking. But it would be nice if anybody's, if anybody's there and they see me Impacted shirt, they might tune into the show. You never know. So that would be quite cool. But anyway, getting back to the match. So we've got Eric Young, Joe Doran, obviously with Dina at ringside versus Heath and Rhino. Welcoming Joe to the show. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Better now that you're talking about VBD.
There we go. And what a fantastic victory you had at Turning Point, Joe. How about that?
Still never been pinned.
See, that's interesting. Actually, you should say that because a lot of people didn't. I think a lot of people don't realize that there is another person other than Steve Macklin that hasn't been pinned on Impact Wrestling since their arrival. So there you go.
Steve Macklin fears Joe Doran.
Oh, Steve Macklin versus Joe Doran. Let's have it. Book it now. Take my money. That would be amazing. So, talk about this. Let's talk about this fantastic match that you had, Joe. So, Heath and Rhino are clearly out to kick ass. The action gets started with Heath and Doran. And from the start, Heath gets Doran in the corner and lets loose with some pretty hard-looking fists and forearm shots. Doran gets out of the corner, starts hitting Heath with some pretty intense shots of his own. At this point, the ref ejects Dina from ringside after pulling on Heath's leg. That's a big no-no. You can't do stuff like that, Dina. Goodness me. After a serious beatdown from EY and Doran, Heath eventually tags in Rhino. Now, during the match, we saw there was a slight. This is something I wanted to talk to you about, Joe, actually, because there was a moment in the show where your knee buckled out as you ran over towards Heath. Now, it looked like you were going to hit him with one of your thunderous, badass clotheslines, but it looked like your knee buckled out. Are you okay, or what really happened at that point?
Momentary stopping. But I came back. Just momentary.
You did. You definitely did, Joe. And absolutely awesome.
Nothing stops Big Joe.
Nothing stops Big Joe. You're right. So anyway, so at that moment, obviously nothing was too serious. He was shaking that out. We get EY coming in, EY and Doran, then obviously, laying the smackdown, as they say. Now, it took a little while to shake it off, though, Joe. That was the thing. It did take a little while to shake it off. The match ended, though, I think, about 5 minutes early as EY hits Rhino with his mask while the rest distracted to gain the victory. I wasn't sure whether this match possibly ended a little bit early because of your knee, Joe, or if that was how it was, if that was how it went to plan.
Try wrestling in cowboy boots. It ain't easy.
Only men wrestle in cowboy boots.
Real men that wear big furry jackets. Big cowboy.
Book this.
Exactly. No, I'm down with it, Joe. I totally get it. But thanks for joining us and giving us a little bit of an insight into your match.
By design.
Wow. I'm telling you guys, the stars come out for TNI UK Impacted every week these days, don't they? They really do.
Stars aligned for us all.
You know, Joe is amazing. It's great to see Joe. Great to see Joe.
Yes, it was a little worrisome. I'll tell you, I was worried because I definitely saw him with the knee going a little. I'm going to go, uh-oh. Not Big Joe. Anybody but Big Joe. But it seems like he shook it off. It was it happens. When you're that big, stuff like that happens.
It does. Yeah, no, it does. And it was a little bit worrying because I was like, oof. And that's what I was saying. For me, it almost felt like the match ended a little bit earlier than possibly it was supposed to. I'm not saying the result was any different, but it almost felt that maybe they
called
were
an audible.
Yeah, they called and said, look, let's protect Joe. Let's not take this to where we were going to take it. Let's get it.
Yeah, especially if he had a planned spot that was no longer in the cards because of that. That definitely could have limited it.
Exactly. But either way, the mask comes into play. EY basically, smash him in the face, and that was it. 1, 2, 3, done. BBD champs. What do you think of this one, Steve?
Yeah, for me, I enjoyed this match far more than the Bound for Glory match. I felt that it connected a bit more, although it still felt a bit like a 2-on-1 to me. Violent by Design still had Heath to themselves quite a lot, and Vino didn't have much ring time, I didn't feel. They completely, Violent by Design, from what I saw, completely decimated the match, which I felt they needed. They have looked quite weak recently, so I'm glad they got the win and they looked quite strong, although I'm not sure where the end game is. Heath and Rhino are back together now, and yeah, I don't really know what they're, if they're looking to get rid of Violent by Design, which would be a terrible idea.
Yeah. No, I don't think they will. But I quite like that comment there from Gary Rossetti. Joe Doran probably makes love with his boots on. I'm pretty sure he probably does. You're probably right. What about you, Joe? What were your thoughts on this one?
Really entertaining match. I agree. I thought it did. The finish was quite sudden. And then when I'm hearing it back and just sort of replaying it in my mind now, I can really see why it did why it came to fruition. So if it had to end to save Joe Doran and prevent any serious injury, then so be it. I have no issue with that. And it was just great. It was a fantastic match. Heath got a good set of offense in. So we got to see Heath come back good and strong, and we'd hoped to see after such a long time away. And Eric Young, Joe Doran, just like Steve said, dominating throughout the entire match was what we needed to see from Violent by Design again after a pretty miserable few weeks. So it played out great. The only thing that was missing was a big pile driver from Eric Young to finish off the match.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's great to see. I think it's great to see Eric Young back in the ring, doing what he does best, and I can't wait to see him in January in the UK. I'm looking.
Yeah, if they're sticking them together like this, there's obviously they're former tag champions now, but with Eric Young wrestling, Joe Doran, who once again has not taken a pinfall. That team seems almost recent world champion Eric Young and Joe Doran. How they cannot be tag team champions in the near future seems foregone conclusion if they stick together.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that the squeaky mouse is probably Sammy in the background playing with his toy. I would
Squeaky mouse.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
But anyway, right. Okay. So we then go on and we got a one-on-one match with VSK with Sticky Rice, as I like to call him, versus
Rice.
Rich Swan and, of course, Willie Max in his corner. So originally this match was going to be Brian Myers, but unfortunately he was not medically cleared, apparently. So he sent VSK, part of his learning tree, in his place. From the off, you could see that both men were very much complimentary of each other. Swan gets straight at VSK, but it was VSK who got the early advantage, really taking it to Swan, the former world champion. We get some great to and throw from both men, but meanwhile, Willie Mack is basically taking out Sticky Rice on the outside. Swan hits the handspring cutter, frog splash, then the Phoenix splash. 1, 2, 3. Rich Swann gets a win. It's like a recipe to win any match from Rich Swann. Pretty amazing. I'm going to go straight over to the legendary Joe-ker on this one to give his opinion while I disappear for 2 minutes.
Rightio. What can I say? I'm a huge Rich Swann fan, so to see him go, I was so looking forward to seeing him go against Brian Myers, but now knowing what's happened, I've got no issue regardless. Him and VSK just gelled together perfectly. It was almost like if Brian Myers wasn't his original intended opponent, then they picked an even better one. And that's not saying anything negative about Brian Myers. But the offense from Rich Swann was fantastic. The offense from BSK was brilliant. That clothesline from Willie Mack to take out Zicky Dice was incredible. I've never seen. I think he almost like turned him outside the ring, which was just really brilliant, and that made me laugh really really loudly. And the Rich Swann's athletic ability, you could just how can you question how bad in quote unquote Rich Swann actually is. His high flying offense is just incredible. He's one of the best high flyers in wrestling to date. And that the finish was just perfect, pitch perfect finish from Rich Swann. And it's going to carry forward this whole Sam Beal, Brian Myers, Willie Mack and Learning Tree story on forward. And hopefully it'll send them both into the up into the tag team division as well, fight it out there, while Myers and Beal fight it out between each other as well. So I'm really interested to how this has gone. So what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, like you said, I thought that these two men completely complemented each other incredibly well. You know, I was a bit disappointed given the storyline that we had that Myers couldn't make it, but I do like how they're turning this. Well, I don't know how what the actual condition is or what the reasoning was, but what Stryker said when VSK walked out, every member gave a different reason as to why Myers couldn't make it. So it sounds like they're turning this into a storyline.
Yeah, they've worked around it brilliantly. It's just right off the bat like that. That's how good Impact Wrestling's creative borders and how the process goes. You know, anyone else could have just said that he's been attacked backstage, he's injured there, done. WWE mode.
Yeah, it's fantastic, really good match, and yeah, I'd like to see more from these two going forward.
Okay, I think Sammy's struggling to kill that mouse in the background. I think pretty soon, hopefully that's going to happen quite soon. But anyway, so no, I thought this was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, I would like to have seen Brian Myers on the card. I love Brian Myers. He's fantastic. But I think this was a really good opportunity for VSK to get in there and show what he could do. And I think he did. I think he did show what he can do. And I've not been much of a fan of him so far.
Well, that's where we connect there, Bison. And I don't know if that's why they're trying to go with this heel heat for VSK, because it seems like he's the favorite of Brian, obviously, and he's getting all these opportunities like that Sam didn't get, that now Ziggy's not getting. And I guess that's supposed to get us not to like VSK, which it's getting for me.
Did you say Zicky or Sticky?
Well, I got to say Ziggy now because he was on my bowling team out in Vegas. And I'll give him the moniker of team captain since he put all the names into the machine there. So, but Ziggy Dice, very entertaining. It's true. He is outlandish.
He is. No, I'm not dissing him in any way. It's just that, I don't know. Every time I see Zicky Dice, I just can't help but seeing on the Chinese menu sticky rice. I just can't.
Dino, is that the guy from TNN?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bison by design. That's what it is. Right. Okay. So moving on from this one, I like I say, I think that, I just think the VSK, probably there's a lot more to come from him. He's just not quite got there yet. So fingers crossed. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think this match was good. And probably he
could be the next John Skyler.
He could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I've been impressed with him so far.
There you go. So then we got another one-on-one match, which was probably the two big men of the night, really, because you've got basically W. Morrissey versus Matt Cardona. Now, this was a match that I was actually looking forward to. Two big dudes slapping meat, as they say. Morrissey Morrissey, as expected, really gave Matt a beating pretty much the entire match. But Matt showed so much heart to still get in several flourishes of offense to almost get the win. To be fair, he hits Morrissey with radio silence, and he has his shoulders down for clearly the 3. But the ref was down, and as Moose entered the ring and speared Cardona out of his boots to allow Morrissey the opportunity to get the pin. So W. Morrissey ends up getting the win. Now, I like the way that they're doing this, because what they're doing is they're building this storyline of Matt Cardona being the almost winner. But there's always a valid reason to why he doesn't quite get the finish, and that I like. And on this one, what they showed was that he actually did get the pin. But, with the ref being distracted, with Moose coming out and interfering, he's that close to getting the win over W. Morrissey. So I like the way they're building this story. I think it's good. I really do. So what were your thoughts on this one actually being in the arena then, Bill?
This one I was really looking forward to as well. As I think one of the guy I was sitting next to says, based on everyone I cheer for the most, I'm a size mark. All the big dudes I like. And obviously Morrissey, I know I was saying it pretty much as soon as he showed up. I'm like, that guy's a world champion. This guy, by next year, he's holding the belt. Maybe sooner. Because he is a star. Like, you see him there, that's a star-looking guy right there. He's big. He's got the look. I didn't know he cuts good promos, like good big man, badass promos is what he gives you. And this is another guy that I think people don't realize, other than losing in hardcore gimmicked matches to Eddie Edwards twice, he hasn't lost either to anybody else. In a standard match, he's not lost. So he's well protected, other than Eddie Edwards, who is the hardcore lifeblood of Impact Wrestling. So you can understand that. But other than that, it's Morrissey. And I know everyone's talking, and obviously, Bison, you were right in the news. You were trending worldwide with your last interview with Morrissey. But I don't think he's going anywhere. You can talk contracts, not contracts. Remember, TJP was here for 2 years without a contract and held a title.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock. Like, Impact, they're really not too afraid to put a title on a non-contracted person. So I don't think it's going to stop them from using him, from doing storylines with him. Hopefully he's a long-term member, because I think he would be a core person I would look at right now at Impact Wrestling for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And I think
and no slouch to Cardona in this match too, because he brought it. He's been as advertised, because I know when we talked last Slammiversary, the free agency, he was one of the guys I would have had a beeline to, because he's so over on social media. Because he has that following. Like, he's bringing people to Vegas tapings just because of his podcast and his history. Like, they're going to come see him and support him. And you need those type of guys and girls on the roster to really establish yourself. So I think both these guys getting these runs is well warranted.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know about that, Jeff. Jeff's mentioned in the chat there that can you imagine Cardona turning up in the Brian Myers learning tree? Not too sure on that one, but yeah, it would be interesting if Brian thinks if Matt sinks that far to almost getting wins.
He didn't win this one, but I don't think he's stooped to that one, because look, as you said, Bison, he got the pinfall, so therefore he looks strong even though he didn't win.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the story that they're building. Matt Cardona, the almost winner of pretty much all of his matches for a while. I think that's what they're going to do, which is going to be quite interesting. And
Morrissey, to a degree, won due to Moose.
Yeah, exactly. But as we were talking about the interview that I had with Morrissey, it was very clear in that interview that he wants to stay with Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
But there is rumors that he wants a massive deal. Well, you've got to prove to be a real draw before you start kind of demanding big figures. You know, you don't want to start going down the Killer Cross route.
Correct. Much different though. Killer Cross had a contract.
Yeah,
that he didn't wanna
I get
honor.
that.
Yeah.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, you don't start demanding these massive, big dude contracts until you know that the reason that people are coming to the show is because you're on the card or you're making.
Yeah, he definitely had I'm sure, a prove it pay per appearance deal. Like, show us that you're worth sticking around type deal. We're taking a chance on you. So by that, I would expect, okay, all right, you're proving yourself pretty good. We're going to give you a nice uptick based on that. But you can't be that one of the high, you can't be the highest paid guy or one of the you're probably just under that.
Yeah.
And then maybe on another deal, if it's a 1 year deal, maybe then you're in the top tier.
Yeah,
exactly.
And if you're being paid a sum of money, you need to be showing that you're worth that sum of money. Whereas you've had sort of wrestlers coming in the past being paid sums of money, and they're basically putting in half that amount of money effort wise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you see that in wrestling all the time.
Exactly. He seems to be wanting to put the money's worth of effort in. So
yeah, definitely. And he's I mean, I'm not saying he's not worth a pay rise. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're going to be looking for big money, then you've got to be making sure that you're selling t-shirts and you're selling whatever you need to sell, and you're putting bums in seats. That's
covering your costs.
You've got to cover your costs. You can't just say, well, I want a massive £150,000 or £200,000 a year, but don't bring in £250,000 worth of revenue. You've got to be realistic. So fingers crossed, we get this one sewn up, because I think as time goes on, he will rise to a proper main event style guy that really does start to bring people in. I think he's got the talent.
The only thing that I would say is there is that risk of up north, because he so fits the mold of a superstar there that at some point, their huge money could talk. They could just outspend anybody if they really wanted to, because he is that type of guy. That's why strike while you can, keep him as long as you can. That he likes it in Impact. You're right. It does. He said it. It seems obvious. And who knows what's going on up there anyway. So to Impact's benefit, they got in on the ground floor with him, and this could be a huge thing for them going forward, because he really could be a face of the company.
I agree. Totally agree. And a lot of the people in the chat seems to think that too. So that's good to see as well. Okay, so the match is done. Moose interferes. Morrissey walks out the champion. That's interesting to see some of the post-match, promos come in, and clearly Matt is not happy. So that's good to see. So we're obviously going to further that. And we then move on to the Knockouts World Tag Team Championship. Decay versus the Inspiration. Again, two massive teams with great ring entrances. The crowd pop for both teams, which is fantastic to see. Decay clearly wanted to get those belts back, and Rosemary was ready to go straight from the bell, take control early on, as we would expect. The Inspiration, who are clearly a great tag team. They've got good chemistry, turned the tide and started to isolate Havoc, working on her arm especially. Havoc eventually makes a tag to Rosemary, who comes in, cleans house, throwing Cassie halfway across the ring with a Cuban suplex straight from the Undead Realm. After hitting the spear, goes for the pin, but Cassie kicks out. The Inspiration hits a double team power bomb on Rosemary. Havoc enters and gets sent to the ring post as Cassie rolls her up with her feet on the ropes. So a nice heel move there for the win. Now, what's interesting on this one is that, Decay are the tweeners in this. They are the tweeners, but they're also currently acting as the faces in during this feud now, and that's clear to see, because they are over. No matter what happens, they could be bad, they can be good, good guys, bad guys, whatever, they are always over. Okay, so that is great to see, but it's good to see that they are booking the Inspiration as the heel faction.
Yeah.
Now, I like that, and using heel tactics. But they obviously, like you say, the Inspiration get the win. They're still Knockouts champions. But this is definitely, for me, not the end. This is not the end of this. There's more to come. And it would not surprise me if at Hard to Kill or at some point Decay do actually get these titles back. I can see it coming. Like I said, I think it's certainly far from over. Decay are going to continue chasing these straps, that's for sure. So what are your thoughts on this one, Joe? Because you're a big Decay fan, big Rosemary fan. I think I'll go with you first on this one. What are your thoughts, bud?
The Inspiration made up for their performance at Bound for Glory in this match. They really flipped my opinion on everything. I was pretty let down at the match at Bound for Glory, but this was awesome. They showed me that. I knew they were a good team. At this, they really proved just how good of a team they actually are. The double team moves and tandem offense from them was fantastic. It was just Rosemary Havoc. Obviously, Rosemary coming down to the ring, chills down my spine, smiling like a Cheshire cat, just wanting to see my Hedge Queen come and dominate everybody. But instead, despite the fact that Rosemary lost the match, the way that they lost it was just the best way to end the match. Like you said, keep Decay as the in between. You know they're bad, but everyone loves them. And to really hammer home that the Inspiration are the bad guys in this story, it's it was a great way to have the match play out and Havoc got a decent amount of offense in this match too. She wasn't totally dominated this time around too, so it was good. We got to see a bit from everybody, and as much as it would have been great to see Gracie, Steve, and Black Taurus outside the ring, it was good to see just all four women in this match, and that made the match a bit more solid too.
I agree.
And it was just a much better match than we got at Bound for Glory. So it was built up great. And the interview afterwards that the Inspiration did, the post match interview, if you guys have not seen it yet, it's bloody hilarious. I suggest you go watch that too.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting. I just know that at the end of the day, who you're going to call.
Yeah.
when you need to get rid of the Decay, who are you going to call? But anyway, so what about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, well, personally, I didn't mind the match at Bound for Glory, but I do agree that this match had a bit more to it. I thought the wrestling between the teams, you could see that they looked a bit more familiar with each other. I like that the Decay are looking more like a team now. They're looking more like a team. They're doing more tandem offense between each other. I thought Rosemary was on fire tonight. I say, at Turning Point, I thought she was absolutely everything she was doing. It was the Rosemary that we knew years ago before she had all those injuries. I mean, I don't know about Decay chasing the titles again because of the whole Wrestle House thing. I don't know if they're going to be in Wrestle House now, so we're not going to see them on Impact as much for the next month or so.
I know what you're saying, but when we get to talking about Impact later, I'm going to throw something at you and see what you think.
Yeah, go for it. But the match itself, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, good. What about you, Bill? I mean, obviously you were there, so you could tell us a bit more about the crowd and everything else.
Yeah. Now the crowd, it's interesting because when the Inspiration came on board and we knew they were going to be at Bound for Glory, I was like, I don't want them to win the titles there. But I actually thought they'd win the titles at Turning Point. And I was okay with that. But then now after seeing it play out, I was wrong. I think that was the right call to give them the titles immediately. I'm not a huge fan of doing that, like debuts and go right to titles, but it can make sense storyline wise. And I think for their characters, which no knock on the Inspiration, they're decent in ring, but they are promos. That's what they are. They make the money for Impact based on what they do backstage, really. And they are gold on the mic. Their segments are hilarious. They really do a good story. And them as the champions with Decay and possibly others going after them, that's where the story is. So now they've shown the Knockouts title since they returned with Fi and Flava having those 2 quick runs. They're willing to move that around, and I think for like the storyline, it probably will get moved around. Like, I don't think you're going to see the Inspiration just hold the belts for a year. That probably doesn't even know, but they'll probably have more likely over the next year, maybe 4 runs of their own. Inspiration.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to start seeing maybe at Hard to Kill, they do lose the title to somebody. But then I could see them winning it back on TV or an Impact Plus special going forward. I think they'll use that more. Like, that's going to probably be maybe that and the X Division, the 2 titles that move the most in the company, it seems.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think you're right. I think they'll have several runs over the next 12 months, but they won't keep it. And it's good to see that the way that they're building this division now, you can't moan. They are obviously trying to build a female tag division now, which is great. I mean, you think about it. I mean, you've got the influence in there. Obviously, you've now got the Inspiration. You've got Decay. There's Tasha and Savannah Evans in there still. There's several tag teams that we could start sort of kind of like pushing through. So it's got a lot of scope. There's a lot of storytelling to be done here.
Yeah, and as Jeff says here about the entrance, their entrance along with the K's entrance, which you talked about, that is something like the crowd, like they rise to their feet quickly when the Inspiration comes out. Like they know, like this is we're watching this. This is someone coming out. These are stars.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's definitely the case. And their merch, they had Inspiration T-shirts at the merch stand. They were flying off the shelf. They were a very good investment for Impact Wrestling. Like we talked about Morrissey, bringing him in, and I think re-signing Moose, like these are the right investments that the company makes. And I think this it was a no-brainer. I think we all thought they should bring them in when they were available, and that's true.
Yeah. Oh, sorry,
yes.
I forgot Gary. Yeah, we don't want to forget Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering as a tag team as well. So there's loads of options, loads and loads of options, and yeah, you're right. They sell well. They sell well without doubt. Somebody said to me the other day, or it was on Facebook or something, who would you prefer to have at your Thanksgiving table? And of course, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the UK. However, if I was in the US and I was celebrating Thanksgiving, it would be Decay all day long.
Oh yeah.
Because I just think having Rosemary and Crazy Steve would just be absolutely hilarious. And well,
they just might bite your face off at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, they might, but it can happen. Rosemary bite away. And then, of course, you've got, I think I have to be honest. Okay. Right. As much as I do enjoy the Inspiration, I think much longer than about 15, 20 minutes of those voices would probably be enough. I think it would probably be enough for me. It's just too high pitched.
Now, I think we might be getting down to something here, Bison. We know your issues with Tennille. Now you're talking about 15 to 20 minutes and the Inspiration. Is there an Aussie thing going on here?
No, it's not the accent. It's not the accent. It's the sort of kind of high pitched squealy noise, much like the mouse in the background there. That's kind of what. It reminds me of.
Sammy's bringing his own inspiration for everyone.
Exactly. That's what, honestly, to me, that's what they sound like when they start going off. It's just like, oh my God.
We will never be friends.
So there you go. But anyway, so either way, I think it was a really good match. I like the way this story's going on. I'm engaged. I'm interested to see where it's going to go, what we're going to get from it. I like it. We then get the X Division Championship 3-way, which, I'm going to say I called this like 2 weeks ago. I was sure that this is what was going to happen. And it did, it ended up happening. It ended up being, said this is what it was going to be. Anyway, so we get that match. So much actually happened in this match for me to actually break everything down.
Yeah.
I probably missed half of it. So what I am going to say is just that this was loads of really cool, badass moves from top to bottom, leading to Trey eventually trying to pin Macklin and Laredo Kid at the same time. But Macklin gets his big, stinky, hairy arm up. So Trey got the win. over Laredo Kid, which technically means that Macklin still has not been pinned, and obviously continuing that storyline. I'm actually loving this storyline with Macklin, and I'm really in to the big hairy smelly arm of Macklin leaving that match to make sure he stays unpinned. But it's great, and again, it's still good that the fact is that Trey is still champ. That's awesome too. So again, and still X Division champion Trey Miguel. This is obviously going to lead now into some kind of feud with Steve Macklin. What are your thoughts on this, guys? What are your thoughts on this? Go with Steve first.
I don't know. I'm probably going to be that guy, but to me, something in this match just didn't click. I don't know if it was, one competitor versus the other just didn't match up well, but yeah, just all throughout the match, something just felt off. A lot, there was a lot going on, but yeah, I just struggled to get into this one. And even at the end of the match, you had Trey winning, which I loved the finish, by the way. We called someone getting, Trey probably pinning Laredo Kid and then Macklin being the one outside the ring. But I don't think anyone called this finish, which for me was incredibly creative.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah, but even afterwards, you had Trey winning and then not celebrating. The entire match just felt very off to me.
Okay. Well, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? What were your thoughts?
I was really, really, really entertained with this match. Once again, the X Division title match has pretty much stolen the show. 2021 has been the year of the X Division, and Trey Miguel, perfect choice to have the belt now. At first I was disappointed, but this was a triple threat match. But the way the match played out, they more than made up for it. The offense Macklin got in against both of these guys was really, really impressive, and it just shows that he's not going to take anything away if he was put into this match. So it's although I would have preferred it to have still been 1-on-1, and then the stereotypical here comes the heel now to take out the champion afterwards. But if you watch Trey Miguel's post-match interview, you can see where the story's escalating from here. Trey Miguel is absolutely pissed that he has not pinned and he has not shut up Steve Macklin, and so we know that this is just going to escalate from here. It just leaves me wondering: is this it for Laredo Kid for now? As his time at the taping is gone, possibly, which is a bit of a shame because it's always great to have him on the roster. But they're really building this rivalry between Trey Miguel and Steve Macklin in a very short space of time. They kicked off at a BTI match a couple of months ago, and then we hardly saw anything between them until the X Division title came about. So, and it's just escalated from there, and it's just been brilliant.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Can I just say a huge welcome to newcomer to the chat, the dog. Fantastic to have you with us, fella. Lovely comments there. Thank you very much. SC Williams, it's great to see you in the house as well. Thank you for joining us. Really, really awesome to see you guys joining us today. Thank you ever so much. Bill, what are your thoughts on this one?
I can see what was being said for this one. It was the trouble when you get into these multi-man matches, it can get a little clunky. And that happened a little bit in this match. Like it wasn't all the, like, obviously Trey and Laredo, they mesh pretty well together. Macklin's a different style. Like, and I'm not one that says like you have to be a cruiserweight type X Division. It is no limits, so you can be anything in the X Division. You don't have to follow a mold. So Macklin and his run the X Division's a different take on it, which I'm liking. Like, I think Macklin would be fantastic in like an Ultimate X match with some of like those hard spears he does. And that's one thing about Macklin. If you notice, everything he does is stiff. Like he's like a strong style type wrestler. No, you get no accents from me, Trent. Other than my Philadelphia Northeast accent, but you don't get.
I tell you, do a really good Joe Doran.
I do only a few voices that I probably all sound the same. I don't know, but I know Trent. He's more of an impressionist than I am. But this one, I thought it was still a good match, and I like you, Bison. I think I saw this coming. Obviously, in a 3-man match, why do you do multi-man matches for someone doesn't take a pin? When it looked like Trey was going to get the double pin, it was like, well, that would be a strange way for Macklin to lose that streak of not being pinned. So that he got it up at the last second, not a shock, because that's obviously what it's leading to. It's just, will Trey be able to withstand this Macklin run? It feels like we were waiting for this Trey run forever, and we got it. But Macklin, they put all this into protecting him this time where he wasn't defeated. It feels like if he gets the shot, he's going to win it. So this is a tough call.
It's gonna be big for Trey, obviously, because they're building up Macklin so much. It's going to be someone big to take that undefeated streak. So it's going to be a big feather in the cap for Trey if he does it.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because you could build this up, and it could actually be a way of making Trey even bigger by being the one that actually pins Macklin in the end. I quite like that idea, Steve. So that's a really good point there. But either way, I think that Trey Miguel is a great champion, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where this one goes. And again, like you say, this is definitely leading to Trey Miguel versus Steve Macklin, and it could be like one of those sort of kind of best of 3 type scenarios potentially over the coming weeks. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where that one pans out. Now, then we move on to the Knockouts World Championship match, which for me should have been ahead of the World Tag Team match, but there you go. I think the World Tag Team match should have been next. That's what I'm trying to say. But
I do too.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the tag team match than the Knockouts title match. So I was a bit disappointed it was the other way around.
Yeah, so was I, because as far as I'm concerned, for me, the second title on the, on the Impact roster, is the Knockouts World Championship. It's for me.
But they did treat it like that, because did you notice what they did on the introduction?
Yeah, they gave the introduction to the ring rather than have them.
Penzer was in the ring, like he was for the main event.
Okay. Yeah,
which they don't always do for the Knockouts title. So I was glad they were kind of giving that equal billing to the Knockouts title.
They've been calling it the Knockouts World title, haven't they?
Correct. They have made that change.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, I have noticed that. They have changed it to the world title. In fact, they've made it very clear that the Knockouts titles are world titles now, as well. The tag team titles are world titles as well. So I'm pleased that they make it very obvious that that's the case. Now, this, for me, was a pretty good match. I quite enjoyed this. So it was Mickie James, obviously, versus Mercedes Martinez. So we got 2 true female wrestling OGs, about to do battle for the most prestigious women's title in the world, as far as I'm concerned. From the off, it was clear Martinez had a height and power advantage over Mickie, but Mickie hits her with some fierce kicks of her own. I mean, that kick combo was pretty badass. After several back and forths with both ladies giving the Samstown crowd something to stand up and shout about, which they really did, Mickie eventually hits the Martinez with her signature DDT to retain her title. Now, we'll go and talk about what happened after the match in a second. But so Mickie James comes out victorious. She beats the OG herself, Martina Martinez. I think this was exactly what it was going to be, to be honest. Thank you, Mir. I did. I said Mercedes Martinez perfectly. So thank you for that, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. So it was. I thought this was a really, really good match, and it's actually, as much as I love Deonna Purrazzo, who we do get to see later, it was nice to see, an offering of, a different Knockouts World title match, with 2 completely different competitors that we hadn't seen before. So I really appreciated that. I thought this was a great match. I love Mercedes Martinez. I think she is great, and I also love Miss Hardcore Country herself, Mickie James. What happened there? Oh,
Hardcore Country!
Yeah, I loving it. Actually,
Poor Bison had a premature hardcore country.
I was planning on getting Ted in on the action there, like
I did notice Ted in the background there.
Yeah, I was planning, but I just completely forgot. I thought about doing that like ages ago, and then because it messed up the first time, it blew my mind. And then when it came back on again, I completely forgot. I was going to put Ted here like this. I go like that. But anyway, he's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to say.
Come on, let's sing the thunder song. Oh, fuck that. It's been 4 years, Johnny. You and me have been together for 27 years. Where's my ring? Huh? Where's my ring, asshole? Where's my ring, motherfucker? Put it on my fuzzy finger, you fuck. Come on.
There you go. Ted's
Get that for your kid for Christmas.
Exactly. Ted's contribution for the show, guys. Ted's contribution. But there you go. Put that ring on my fuzzy finger, motherfucker. Anyway, so it's great to have Ted on the show. I might admit, I do love having a bit of Ted. Thunder Boomer. That's true. We could get Thunder Boomers in. He actually does sing the Thunder song, so maybe at some point. The only problem is you've got to push through all the different sayings to get to it. But there you go. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we'd have to sit here listening to every single one before we actually got to the Thunder song. But anyway, so it's quite cool. It's quite cool. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying now. So anyway, after the match, it had obviously kicked. Finished with Mickie James winning, which is great to see. Who comes out to the ring? Former Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo blindsides Mickie to make her intentions known. She'll be evoking her rematch clause at Hard to Kill. So we get the very first match set for Hard to Kill. I think this is a great way of doing it because what you're doing is just saying, you know what, to us, the Knockouts Championship is really important. So the first match that we're going to give you is the Knockouts title match, and it's going to be Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James. And I think this is going to be great. It'd be interesting to see if we get any stipulations or, whether they turn it into some sort of kind of hardcore match maybe, or I don't know. There could be a stipulation coming later on. You never know. Anyway, what were your thoughts on this one? I'm going to go with Bill first because obviously you were there. So the crowd's reaction was pretty interesting as well. They proper booed her, didn't they?
Well, yeah. Right now, Deonna's definitely the big heel now because back in Nashville, remember, much smaller crowd, and there is something, and I'll admit, like I usually don't fully boo on Deonna because you got to give her credit for what she's done. And for the most part, the way she's done it, she doesn't usually do full heel things. Like she just is like, I'm better than you type heel, which is fine. And those ones I'm usually a fan of, and I am. But Mickie James is Mickie James. It's hardcore country. We were cracking up the cameraman near us because every time we'd see we were doing the hardcore country, Bison. Yeah, it was just like here exactly. We were yelling, we were going hardcore country, and like so we were getting chuckles from everybody. But Mickie, fantastic. Mercedes, I feel like. I remember seeing her on the Indies years ago. So it's great to see her on this stage, getting this opportunity. And you're right, changing it up, that's the only thing, the Knockouts title, and I get it. Taya had that real long run. Deonna's had a real long run. So there hasn't been a lot of change out there in that division other than the champion. And you run through the roster. So seeing two people that going for the title that were not even there months ago is fresh. It's something fresh for the division. So I think that is needed once in a while. I'm sure you'll probably see the same thing at some time with the Good Brothers. Like a team will win, and then you'll see two totally different teams going for the tag title after all this time. So it does add something to it, to that division, which is needed. You can't just have the same thing over and over. You can go back to it again, but you do need to break it up, and that's what they're doing here. But excellent match. Mercedes, I've seen a ton on the Indies since she was released again. And she's definitely hit another gear. That's someone that's been doing this a long time, but even better now. And I'm sure some of the stuff up north helped. Like you do learn things. I give them credit for that. I like it's almost a joke that they teach you how to do entrances and stuff like that, but they do teach you how to work the camera and things like that, which You can tell that these are all seasoned pros in Impact right now.
Oh yeah, they totally are. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to set everything up. I think the way that they set the stories up are definitely, what make you want to tune into that particular match. I loved it. I thought I think it's a great match. I love the way that they're setting everything up. And you know what? I love Samstown. The more I see Samstown on TV, the more I love it. They're using some different angles because I remember that when they were doing Samstown prior to this, they weren't using the same camera angles.
Yeah,
it was almost set up very differently. Like they had a camera on one side of the bleachers, I think, when it was sort of like kind of coming down to the ring that way. They don't have that angle anymore. It's like they've I don't know. They've invested more in the sort of boom. I think I forgot what they call them now.
It really is. Yeah, it's like a boom camera, like on the crane that goes there. So they're utilizing that more, and they get real creative. Like they'll drop it down pretty low. Like sometimes it's just over the turnbuckle. Like they'll go pretty low with it. But that's something we were talking about last night, which gets lost in a 3-hour show. But that they pretty much took most of Skyway and brought it to Vegas for these tapings. Like just adding the screens, the lights that go around. You're right. Some different setup, the cameras. They put a lot more miking the crowd properly. Yeah. The lighting.
The crowd for Turning Point was awesome. Like the way they had that mic'd up, the raucous sound coming from the crowd was really, really good. I'm not sure how many was there, probably 1,000 maybe. But it was almost like 3,000 or 4,000.
If you do it right, that's what it should sound like. Like you're not embellishing it, you're just doing it properly. In the past, that was one negative to their production in Samstown, because I would always talk to them like they had good crowds at Samstown. There was loud crowds at Samstown, but on TV, it would never come off because everything was kind of muted down because it just wasn't done the way it should have been. And I don't know if that was relying on more local stuff, not bringing in all that equipment, but now they're doing it. And it's just, as more and more they go around touring, I hope they keep doing that because that is an investment they're making to bring more of that stuff out.
They can't. Well, the problem that you've got, they can't go somewhere else and then reduce the production value. They can't because you've got to be as good, if not better, every set of tapings or where you go. As you're moving on, you need to be as good as the previous one or move on. Don't get worse.
No, I think they actually are listening to the fans and saying, like, we needed to get better sound quality. We needed to have the announcers ringside. They weren't doing it before. Now they're doing it. So they're obviously coming up with it, or they're either listening or they're coming up with them themselves. Either way is great, but they're making changes. They're not saying our way is the best way. We can't change, which is refreshing.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'd really like to see Impact take on that moniker of having the turnbuckle cam that they use at AEW. It's one of the things I think makes their a little bit unique. I quite like it. I don't know how many times that thing's been destroyed potentially, but I mean, I don't know whether it kind of they say right that side is out of bounds. You can't do anything off that one or whatever. I don't know, but I just think if you imagine if it was because I don't think it's set to move. I don't think it moves. I think it's just sort of kind of sat there as hard, right? But could you imagine if it was actually able to move? So if someone came up on the turnbuckle, you sort of kind of move that camera up just as they launched. That would be a really cool angle.
Bison, forget that camera. Ready for this? Let's blow people's minds. Ref cam.
Yes. That's a really good idea.
The ref cam, and then it's like, bam, you're right there in the action. Trademarked by TNI.
That would be a really good idea. Yeah.
They wish I'd thought of that.
I wish I thought of that. I think that'd be great. But what a really cool idea. Definitely. I mean, Daniel Spencer, I reckon, would love that.
Yeah, Daniel Spencer with the ref cam. Come on.
He'd be all over that, man. He'd be all over it. You could see the arm going up.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, no, that'd be cool. There's loads of different options that they could come up with. They need to experiment with a few different camera angles, I think. But the only thing I would say is sometimes I think the camera changes a little bit too quick. it sort of kind of fluts about really quickly sometimes.
Yeah,
But
we
you
got
need to
that in the
come-
exhibition title match. The camera changed. The camera changed too much, and we missed the dive Shane McGill did outside the ring when Steve Macklin and Rhoda Kid were fighting it there because they cut it off too quickly, and Shane McGill just came and fighting out completely out of shot, so it was hard to pick up.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Actually, I remember that it was a bit flittery during that match. You're right, it was. So, that's interesting, and I don't remember that. I have to say, Mir, I do not remember that. But that's,
Well,
I mean, that's,
I'll claim statute of limitations. We're bringing it back. Plus,
Yeah.
they didn't have the quality back then. 30 years ago. Would they have a
Yeah,
camcorder on their head?
yeah, like, yeah, really?
Oh, if
That worked.
WCW did it, then AEW's going to snatch it up quickly, aren't they? If WCW did it.
If WCW did it, AEW is going to do it.
What was Tony sleeping that day? You missed that one?
Must have been. But anyway, I like the idea of the ref cam. I think that's a cool idea. Anyway, okay, so let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to get caught up in the sauce here. But we then go into the World Tag Team Championship match, which was obviously the Bullet Club with.
I think you missed the announcement of Scott.
Oh, yeah.
didn't you?
Another big knockout announcement. It's all about knockouts.
Yeah, sorry. We then obviously had the announcement that we were going to have the first ever Ultimate X Knockouts match at Hard to Kill. And that was cool. I have to say, though, the way that he went about announcing that was a bit weird. I kind of had to sit back and go, what did he just say? Oh, fuck me. He just said Ultimate X. Because, I don't know, like, it didn't seem to sort of kind of... I didn't think it was very clear. Let's put it that way. But anyway, great to see that. X Division...
What do you say? I'm not clear, Bison?
I don't think you were on that particular occasion, Scott. I'm sorry to say. You really need to take my advice and sort of kind of slow down, little less words, get to the point.
Stop hyperventilating.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to go BQ on your ass in a minute. Anyway, let's move on. Sort your marketing out. Anyway, so so we've got Bullet Club. We've got Chris Bay and Hikuleo versus the Good Brothers. For me, highlight was Bay in this match. I thought he was awesome. Clearly, I think he lives Vegas.
Yeah, he's a Vegas guy.
He's a Vegas guy. So he was
way
clearly
over in Vegas.
The crowd were proper all over Bay, which was fantastic. But I have to say, this was the championship match I was least invested in. Partly because I just feel we keep saying the same teams going at it time and time again. We need to see more teams going for that title. I want to see something similar to the Knockouts Tag Tournament, maybe, to determine, who gets a good crack at the Good Brothers, maybe at Hard to Kill, something very similar to what they did with the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament. I think that would work really, really well. Anyway, with that said, it was a pretty solid match. Bay looks absolutely awesome. I'd love to see the Bullet Club holding the title in Impact for a while. I think that would be
and I really thought this was going to be the one because there was no title changes. But I thought this was going to be the one where if there was a title change, it would be this match.
Yeah.
I
thought that's why they put it on second to last as well.
Yeah, so did I. I was like, the Bullet Club are going to win this. They've got to win this. And that's not because I'm not a Good Brothers fan, because, I know there's a few people that aren't keen on the Good Brothers. I just feel they just don't need a title to be over. They're over. They don't need a title to do it. They could do loads of other shit without actually carrying a title. And I don't know. I just think we've got other people that could carry that title.
Yeah. And you saying about how things have been stale. This is another reason why I thought Finjuice shouldn't have won, because again, it's going to be Finjuice going against either Bullet Club or Good Brothers, which we've seen ad nauseum.
Yeah, well, this could be the rubber match now if it is Finjuice and the Bullet Club and the Good Brothers. This could be like, this is definitely your last chance for now.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen until Hard to Kill, though. That's the only thing. But then I don't think that's the right match for Hard to Kill, and that's the thing. If they're going to get another, you can't give them another match because potentially they're going to lose again. Because I'm pretty sure that the Good Brothers are not going to lose that title unless it's at a major pay-per-view. That's not going to happen. So, and that's why I'm saying it's now not going to happen until Hard to Kill. Now, if that's going to be Finjuice, I'm going to be shocked. if that's the case, because I think they're going to want to bring somebody big in for that.
Yeah.
So this is where we might
But,
see, the GOD possibly.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people saying that they're fed, like they don't like the Good Brothers, and I think it is just a case of the fact that the Good Brothers have, with all due respect, like been shoved down the throats. When someone is kind of pushed at you so much, they then take a dislike to them.
Yeah.
No, I think the reason that they've taken a slight dislike to them is more to do with the fact that they spent so much time on AEW TV. I don't think it's got anything to do with anything other than that. But since all of that is gone by the wayside, every week, they're doing their bit. They're promoting Impact like no other. You can't deny that.
Oh no.
They want to be there. They want to be there.
They are company guys.
Yeah, they are. They are company guys, and they want to be there. So people should just cut them a little bit of slack now. And I'm sure that the choice to do what they did with AEW was not necessarily them. It just made sense it was them because they were potentially the biggest stars at that time. But anyway, all that said, like I said, I think this was a really solid match. But I was honestly thought the Bullet Club were going to take that. But again, unfortunately, it was the same recipe as always. The Good Brothers take the win. They didn't get the Magic Killer in.
They didn't get the Magic Killer.
They didn't get the Magic Killer in, but they still ended up, as the tag team champs.
A lot of tights there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Part of me does wonder if they're building this Magic Killer up, if maybe Bay will kick out of it.
Yeah. That's the other thing.
I honestly don't believe this is done with Bullet Club. I think that Bullet Club maybe it will be Bullet Club that take it off them eventually. But I'd just be very surprised if it turns out to be not at a pay-per-view. It has to be at a big pay-per-view because it's a big thing. I don't know. What do you think on this one, Bill?
I was a fan of this. Once again, I like Thin Juice. I like Bullet Club. I think obviously with the Vegas connection with Chris Bay, obviously the only weird thing about this was it wasn't the Hikuleo Bay that qualified for this match. It was the El Phantasmo and Chris Bay that qualified for it. But obviously he's at the Super Juniors, so he couldn't make it. I don't know if that was the intention to go, that they knew they were, because you had Hikuleo and Big LG have that match. So maybe it was always the intention and they were going to, if they won, it would be freebirding possibly, which is not a bad idea with Violent by Design. You got a built-in storyline right there you can go to.
The thing is with the Bullet Club, with the Bullet Club, they can freebird with anybody. There's loads of them.
They can.
And see, the beauty of it is that you just don't know who's going to turn up because, we had El Phantasmo for a while. We had Jay White for a little while, the leader of the Bullet Club. We've got Hikuleo at the moment. There's
Ten Bird.
You could have anybody. I mean, I'd like to see, Ishimori turn up. I want to see.
The Bone Soldier.
I want to see the Bone Soldier turn up, man. I think the Bone Soldier turning up would be awesome. Again, a fantastic, high flyer. Awesome, Ishimori. Big fan. Big fan. So I would love to see him turn up again. That would be awesome. So there's loads of options with regards to the Bullet Club. If they become champions, you could be seeing like a different tag team every bloody week, which which again would be very different.
And we can't forget that, just like we talk about with the Inspiration and some of these the Good Brothers, Bullet Club, as obviously that's a brand. Bullet Club is a brand. They play the OG Bullet Club music on Impact. That gets eyes. People are like, oh, what's the Bullet Club up to? So that you are getting people, and there's the New Japan Strong relationship going on that's being utilized a ton. So I don't think they're out of it. And obviously the end of this match, it wasn't a clean finish. It was a dusty finish with the pulling of the tights. So even though it's funny seeing the Bullet Club complain about shenanigans when they are the team that pretty much invented shenanigans. So it's not over, obviously, but they are utilizing these partnerships and these names to get people to watch the product. So I think you're still going to see Bullet Club have a big presence. Will they win the tag titles? I think at some point they probably will. I just don't know if it's going to be real soon or if it's going to Like, I could see Slammiversary next year being when the Good Brothers finally drop the belts.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, I mean, but that's a hell of a time. That is a hell of a time.
Yeah.
Because now they're very associated with Slammiversary since they debuted there. So
Well,
I always feel like that could be the
Slammiversary-
loss.
Well, the next Slammiversary is basically the end of their contract, isn't it? Effectively,
It
the
probably
current
is.
contract.
So that could
Yeah.
be part of the build, maybe.
Who knows? I like that, Zach Bonifer. I'm down with that. You need to do. You need to get a picture of Jay on the show and then just change his face to the Bone Soldier. I think that would be quite cool. But anyway, we then get Josh Alexander come out to the ring to reflect on what has happened over the past month, including a pretty badass match with Suzuki, but making it very clear he wants his world title back, that he earned. See, that's the thing that he earned at BFG. We then get music and the name Jonah appear on the screen, and then look who enters in the ring from behind. He didn't come down the ramp, so Josh was looking at the ramp, saying, who's coming down. So he came in from behind. And then obviously proceeds to destroy Josh Alexander with several hard-hitting moves, including top rope splashes, which creates internal bleeding as Josh is clearly spitting blood. This was a moment. Now, this was a very, very big moment. It was great to see him it was great to see him arrive. They're obviously selling him big. You're not going to bring him out to, let's face the fact, Josh Alexander at the moment, you could say, is the guy that they're trying to build to be the man of Impact Wrestling. They then get Jonah out to basically kick the shit out of him. You're not going to do that with a guy that, if you're not planning on doing something with him, because all you've done then, if you never see him again, all you've done is made Josh look weak. So there's obviously something planned here, and it's obviously going to be with Josh Alexander as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, and hopefully eventually, if they haven't signed Jonah to a full-time contract, which they probably haven't, then I'm assuming that this is a way of, again, making Josh Alexander look strong. And
I used to have a last name, but now a billionaire keeps it in a safe.
Fair dues. Welcome to the show, Lakers. Great to see you, brother. And can I just say, Jeremy Bentley? I don't think I recognise that one. So it's nice to see you on the show, mate. Thank you for joining us. And I'm not too sure whether they need to bring in more tag teams, buddy. I think if you look at the roster, it's actually about 4 or 5 already there. They just need to use them a bit better.
Use them a bit better.
Yeah, so we'll just see sort of kind of where how that all pans out. But what were your thoughts on the big debut of Jonah then? I'm gonna go with, dare I say it, I'm gonna go with Bill first on this, because obviously Bill was there, so he knows exactly how big this was taken by the crowd in the Impact in Samstown at that time. Go on, Bill, let us know. Tell us what your thoughts.
Yeah, no, this was a good way to debut Jonah. That's funny because I think there were some like dirt sheets or some. I think maybe even an interview with Jonah that came out that he pretty much confirmed he was going to be at Bound for Glory, but like paperwork didn't work out, stuff like that. Yeah. So you got the impression strongly he could show up at these tapings. But it's one of those things, when the show's going on, you forget these things because you're watching the show, you're invested in that. You're not thinking of like who could show up, things like that. So then when he does, it's like, oh, hey, whoa. I think I did see a clip of his debut, and it's funny because I think the camera was focused on the entrance. So then, so initially you take a look back and you're like, oh, no, he's not going to come through there. He's got to come. Everyone attacks Josh now. That's what they're building up because Suzuki did that. So this is now what they're doing as the building. Poor Josh is bleeding all the time now. But it's very similar to kind of like the Eddie Edwards, how he got elevated. It's almost like he had to go through hell. And that's what Josh is doing now. He had the title, he had the brief taste of it, but then he lost it to Moose. And now that's kind of what they're doing with Josh. You were either, his matches made you a fan, the run to the title there made you a fan, but if you're not a fan or you don't know Josh yet, this is going to be the storyline that does it. Because he's going to go through the worst probably over the next couple months.
I think
it's going to be big guys gunning for him. He's going to have to be the guy to fend them off. And he's going to get beat up. He's going to get hurt. This is all going to happen, but he's going to stand up at the end. And then at the end, he will get that title shot, probably win it. And then hopefully that brings it all together for then he is your face going forward.
Yeah.
So you can see it's a long-term build right now.
The funny thing is I don't think that's going to happen until Bound for Glory 2022.
I think it's going to be, I don't think it's happening soon.
Yeah, because the bottom line is now they're giving it to Moose. It's been a long time coming. They're going to have to give him a run. You can't just
maybe Slammiversary, that would be the soonest, but it could be even Bound for Glory. Like I think I wouldn't look at it. I wouldn't even think before Slammiversary. Like so that's gonna. My guess is it's gonna be Jonah. Maybe then another. Who knows? There are some other potential debuts coming after that. So it could go from Jonah to that next person.
Yeah, exactly. People just coming in to sort of like kind of give him a bit of a beating and give him that whole kind of like end up overcoming the odds type scenario every single time. And you're right. This will definitely, without shadow of a doubt, build Josh to be the face of the company.
Yeah, definitely got to give credit to Jonah too. I had not seen Jonah live before. He's impressive. He's impressive because he's obviously got a look that's very unique. Like he's not the tallest guy, but he's wide.
He's
and he's agile. Yeah, he's got it different, and then obviously he does that jump off the top. So he's like once again he's like a throwback to some of the big guys of like the late 80s, 90s, like a Bam Bam Bigelow type guy. So definitely something the roster has not had.
Well, we were saying that we were talking about earlier. We got sort of kind of Samoa Joe
vibes from him.
I don't disagree with the Samoa Joe. That's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, even his promos.
Yes,
I think so. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, and I'm all over the Top Dog. So let's see where this all sort of kind of pans out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, once all that was said and done, and poor old Josh was obviously taken to the back to receive medical attention, we then get to the Impact World Title match: Full Metal Mayhem, Eddie Edwards versus Moose. And again, this was a renewed rivalry with lots of history. When Eddie won the three-way number one contenders match a few weeks back, it was pretty much there. It was a rivalry. It was already there. We didn't need to build to anything because we already got history. It's already there. Now this match was just awesome. We had power bombs through tables. We had ladder shots to the head. We had metal bins, multiple, baking tray shots, as well as power bombs on aprons of the ring. But for me, the highlight was the off the ladder onto the ladder spot, which
sunset
blew my
flip
mind.
power bomb. Yeah.
Oh my God. From Eddie, obviously, onto Moose. That was an absolute incredible thing. We then got kendo sticks, chair shots, but then Morrissey runs to the ring, assists Moose. We then get Cardona. Coming out to put an attack on Morrissey. While all this is going on, Moose hits Eddie with a spear to retain 1, 2, 3, and again retains his title. So, this was I thought this was an incredible match. Totally, was the match of the night for me. Just incredible match. Now, up to this point, I would have said the Moose reign had been a little bit boring. It'd been a bit lackluster. But boy, this blew me away and well worth the wait because, and bravo to Impact and both men in this match. Thank you ever so much. And then, of course, we end the show with the Impact logo. And this I thought was very cool. The Moose music playing out. I thought that was a real nice touch. I mean, you haven't seen the show, Bill, so I don't know how it sort of kind of ended for you, but that's what happened. The Impact logo comes up as always, and they just played Moose's music for about a minute and a half.
Did they?
I thought that was
I thought it faded it all out.
Yeah, they faded it all out. I thought that was a really, really cool moment.
Instead of like the normal Impact bumper sound.
Yeah, they played Moose. They played Moose's music. That was very, very cool. And it actually made me want to just watch and listen for a little bit, just in case something else was going to happen, like an Avengers end of the,
You never know. As Kevin Martin says, always stay till the last second.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I haven't mentioned, you're right, I haven't mentioned the throwdown thing. We'll talk about that in a second. I thought this was an amazing match. What were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, like you said, it was basically a match of can you top this, wasn't it? You know, both men trying to outdo each other.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie always delivers. We haven't seen Moose in too many of these matches, but it was great to see him in a match like this to really show his versatility. And I mean, there were a few moments that really made you kind of sort of cringe, like that sunset flip that you just said. And I mean, that original table spot, because no one set the table up, it was already set up, so you weren't expecting it.
Oh yeah, it looked like he was going for the side of the ring, didn't it? And then all of a sudden he turned and went through the
yeah.
table.
So yeah, the entire match was fantastic. I could have done without the ending with the cutting up the ring, because I felt it just took too long and sort of slowed the match down.
Okay, you're talking about the Bully Ray spot, aren't you? That's what I call that, the Bully Ray spot.
Yeah. I sort of thought that was a bit like, you know, we're just waiting, and sort of Moose is just laying in the ring, sort of like waiting for it to happen. I felt I could have done without that. But yeah, besides that, I thought the entire match was fantastic.
I don't know, mate. I'd like to see how quickly you get up after having your head smashed over with a chair. But you know,
but when you're watching when you're watching the event, you're sort of like, yeah. Although I will say, when it comes to Moose, I'm disappointed now he's champion that he's dropped the whole robe entrance.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah,
you know, he kind of had this whole entrance with different robes and different looks and everything, and now he's dropped it. Now he's champion. It's really weird.
Are you sure? I mean, it might be that he's just dropped it for this particular match. It sort of kind of probably wouldn't make sense. This is a Full Metal Mayhem. You just got to get out there and fight. Yes, I think it's a completely different scenario. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Hopefully, he might bring that back. Hopefully, he'll bring that back. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
This match of the night for me, without a doubt. The pace of this match was a complete contrast to the rest. The rest of the event like flew by, and this slowed right down. And it was set up and delivered perfectly. I thought that the initial powerbomb, one of the initial powerbombs Moose did to Eddie, we thought he was going to get him on the apron. He throws him onto the ramp instead. That was shocking. And then the amount of times Eddie turned his back, slammed off the ring, off the floor, off the side of the ring, off the ring. Yeah, how much punishment is that guy's back going to take over, and has taken over the years? And he's still able to get up and do what he does.
I wish I had that back. I'll tell you, I wish I had his back.
Me too.
I ain't got that.
It's absolutely incredible. And we've got a great use of weapons. We've got great back and forth in between. That Tiger Driver Eddie Edwards delivered on Moose, and to see anyone lift Moose up that high, upside down, and drop him on his head is just incredible to see. That pulled off. Yeah, I
think Eddie he's you know, I mean, he's not the biggest guy. I mean, he's a reasonable size, but he's not the biggest guy. But he's fucking powerful.
Yeah,
he's a very really strong guy.
Really good core strength, as you'd expect from having the Boston Epie as a finishing move. But the lift he got from a Moose before dropping him on his head after taking such a huge beating throughout the match. Was just incredible. And I liked that they got W. Morrissey coming out and returning the favor for Moose, and then Matt Cardona coming in. So you know where this is building. It's going to build between all four of them fighting it out to probably this week in the main event or next week, and we might get a 4-way at the next Impact Plus special between all four of them, and then maybe we might see something different at Come Hard to Kill. It might be Morrissey or Matt Cardona versus Moose.
I tell you this. I'm not sure what we're going to get at the next Impact Plus pay-per-view. But I'm not sure we're going to get the 4-way between those four. But it could be interesting. You never know. What about you, Bill? You were there. You were ringside. You had some young man standing directly in front of you. I tell you, this is funny. This is a funny story, guys. This is a funny story. So we're watching Turning Point, right? And all the way through the night, I'm texting Bill. And he's ringside, so we're texting each other. He's replying to me. And what's really funny is I'm watching the thing, and I'll text him. And then in between each match, you see him get his phone out, and then he's texting me back. And then my phone goes ping. Oh, it's Bill. So I was actually watching you in Vegas, me in the UK, we were texting each other about what was going on. It was quite funny that I was actually watching you texting me back. It was really weird. But it was funny. Technology. What an amazing thing. But yeah, you had some dude stood in front of you. I don't know what was going on there. I think that was me, mate. I've been going a bit nuts. But I've been like, get the fuck out of my way.
I would have taken that bacon tray off him and smacked him with it and just said, get the fuck out of my way.
Like, get the fuck out of my face. Yeah, I paid for this motherfucking seat. Get the fuck out. Like, you know what I mean? But anyway.
You're nothing but a selfish prick.
Yeah. Well, what, the person in front of Bill? I agree. No, whatever. But yeah, so but fair play, mate. Fair play. You sort of you put up with it, and I hope. So we're now going to find out how much of the actual match you got to see. So
well, luckily, so much of it was elevated on those ladders. It wasn't too hard. But once again, these guys, ZNA originals, long timers. I've seen them do hardcore matches on like the outside of the ring with chairs. You don't normally see Moose a lot with ladders. So that was the thing. Chairs, tables, Moose, definitely chairs, tables sometimes, but ladders, that's kind of new for Moose. So seeing him do the stuff on the ladder spots, that was a new Moose we're kind of seeing here. But he's totally elevated it. Eddie, there's just he'll never get the credit he deserves, Eddie, because he does everything. And the abuse he takes in the matches he does so much that he's always doing these hardcore matches pretty much. Yeah. He's putting a toll on his body. And it's obviously for the fans. He's doing it like that's why he is the heart and soul of Impact. There's no doubt about that for Eddie.
What's interesting about Eddie Edwards is if he was just that little bit better on the mic, if he was just that little bit better in promos, he would be the ultimate wrestler. He would be the ultimate wrestler. You could see.
But once again, he's improved over the years as well. I'll say his is similar. His journey, AJ Styles, who was brutal at the beginning of his career on the mic. If you watch the throwback, you'll see that. And it took it's not like he turned it on one day. Like it was like slow progression, like over years for AJ. Yeah. And he topped out at a point, probably. But is he great now? Probably not great still, AJ. But he got better. And I think that's what Eddie's changed his character. Obviously, he was the Wolves. He became the hardcore guy. Now he's he's the Impact guy. He is. I know that's Moose and my vest moniker, the Mr. Impact, but that is Eddie. He is Mr. Impact.
Yeah, he's the true Mr. Impact. I agree. But it was a hell of a match.
It was a hell of a match. Because you got to remember that huge bump that we're talking about off the ladder, the sunset flip power bomb. That was all Eddie. Eddie was the one going down on the ladder and then taking Moose's weight on him on the ladder.
Yeah,
that's all Eddie. And he's the one took that huge bump. It's like, geez, Eddie.
Yeah, and he nearly got his leg badly caught in that, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did. That was. Luckily, these ladders now with all this weight, it seems like they naturally bend out. Like they kind of almost take the impact like the ring does. They kind of bounce in. And it's like, that's good. Because it seemed like years ago, the ladders had no give in them at all. And they just, that could have been bad news.
It's like jumping on a massive steel wall. Otherwise.
If you notice that, the way it was set up, it almost seemed like it was reversed, the ladder. Because Eddie had to go up the side. You're not supposed to go up. They tell you not to. And it was like Hebner's down at the bottom holding it. And I'm like, oh, no, man, I'm worried about Eddie. This whole thing's going to collapse. But obviously it was because Moose had to go up the other end. And who knows, maybe Moose's weight, that was probably dicey to begin with on a ladder that big.
Yeah, without doubt. I think it was an incredible match. And I think it was a great match to end the pay-per-view.
And a great first defense for Moose.
Exactly. I think it was set up to make Moose look like an absolute beast, and I think it did. I think it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
And it went over half hour, I think.
It was. It was.
Yeah, it was well over 35 minutes, Matt. It was decent length.
It was
You
brutal.
can't say
I mean,
you can't say
fucking
you
hell.
can't say he's not a fighting champion.
No, 35 minutes of getting battered, getting
Yeah.
bashed with everything under the sun. I mean, fucking
Because it's
hell. I mean,
rare. Full Metal Mayhem, you only get those in Impact. What, maybe every 5 years?
Yeah,
So
it's a rare.
Yeah,
it's
you
a
got to take it
rarity.
when you can.
Great match, great paper.
Oh, baby!
It was an oh baby match without doubt. I thought the whole turning point was fantastic. And when you consider that wasn't actually a classed as an actual pay-per-view, that was an Impact Plus special. It was outstanding, and I hope that they keep doing them live. Now, as far as I'm aware, the next one in December is going to be obviously Throwback Throwdown. Now they have advertised that that's also live, so that's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of people that poo-poo it and all the rest of it, but I think for me, I enjoy it and I take it for what it is. It's a throwback to bygone eras. It's a tribute to what came before, and if you treat it in that way, just enjoy it. It's fun. I tell you what, I bet who's really gutted they're missing it is obviously going to be the legendary Sami Callihan, because this is right up his alley. He loves this kind of stuff.
Well, I almost wonder, like, obviously his travel's pretty prohibited based on the leg, but it is in Kentucky. He's in Ohio. It's not that far. I almost wonder, because remember, he was a manager last time.
Yes.
So he didn't wrestle. So he could bring that gimmick back.
Maybe. He
His
could be
Jim Cornette inspired manager.
Exactly. He could be managing somebody else, couldn't he, on this one? You just never know. But I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be. I think the crowd are going to love it as well. I actually prefer this. What's it called? The
IPWF.
That's it. The IPWF version than the my NWA. I actually prefer this version of old school style wrestling than the new version of NWA.
Oh yeah, well this is totally the throwback. Like NWA is kind of doing like, here's a current version of studio wrestling. They actually are like, no, this is studio wrestling from that era.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
all wrestlers portraying the characters.
And
And
I think it's awesome.
I think they all loved it. I think the talent loved it. I loved it. I think if you're a new fan, like if you're in the demos, a young fan, some of that could get lost on you. I do get that, but for like a one-off special, I think it's fantastic. Like they're definitely going to a different a niche.
Yes.
But I think that's why if you love Johnny Swinger, you love IPWF.
Who doesn't love Johnny Swinger? Who doesn't love Johnny Swinger?
Definitely. And for me, this is a perfect opportunity for Chad Too Bad as Sex Ferguson.
Oh, I think you could see them. I think you could see them.
This is horrible.
I want to see it. I love fucking Sex Ferguson all day long.
No, that would be the thing. Can they bring him back for one night only?
It would just be fucking awesome. I love it. Okay.
I was at the first one. I know Mayor's asking if I was at the first. I was at the first one. It was they did Toronto tapings for TV at the Rebel, and then that was in Mishagawa, like about, I don't know, an hour away the next night. So I did do that as well.
I think it's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I love the fact that they're doing it live. I think the wrestlers are going to have a lot of fun. It's December. It's the perfect time to do something like this.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
During the holidays, it's the lead up to Christmas. Perfect. Thank you ever so much. It's a great Christmas present from Impact. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, let's move on swiftly then, because we're already at almost 2 hours 20. I think that Mrs. Bison is going to kill me if I go too much longer. Right. So. Let's get on with the digital media match. So this week we have Matthew Raywell versus Jake something. Mir, if you want to hit mute now, because I'm going to say it. So if you want to hit mute, when I'm done with this, I will put my thumb up. Okay? Okay, buddy, here we go. So Matthew Raywell versus Jake something. Really good match from both men. Again, only 4.5 minutes, but it was a very good 4.5 minutes, and really showcased the winner, I felt. I think the winner of this match could be the next DMC champion, and that obviously was Jake something. What?
Whoa.
My name?
I did not expect that. I did not expect that.
What?
Wow. I did not expect Jake something to come out the winner.
Oh, okay. Did you not see it then?
No. Well,
okay, bud.
I did not expect. I thought that Matthew Ray, if it was going between them, Matthew Ray will do it because he's with Diana Prizer, and then they got the big social media following there. But Jake, some of the stuff he does elsewhere, he promotes online. You see just how good he is. So kudos to him, and I'd love to see him versus Jordan Grace as well. That would be incredible.
My name. I love that. I love it. What a beast! Love it. I think the Jake something is an absolute animal. I cannot wait to see where this guy goes. I think they've got big plans.
Imagine, you can just picture it now. Him going face to face with Jordan Grace. What a match that'll be.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I think it's going to be great. Great.
But no, I do agree with Joe. It's weird how Matthew Raywalt's come in, partnered with Deonna, and really he's done no better match wise than Kimberly.
Not really. He's just sort of, I don't know. I mean, he's putting on good matches. You cannot. I mean, this was a very good match.
Yeah, and character wise, he's got it. But it's just like I don't know. It's like they don't know what to do with him at the moment.
I don't know about that. I think they're doing exactly what they should be doing with him personally.
But I feel like what Joe said. If it wasn't against Jake, he should have won it because he would be a perfect digital media champion standing next to Deonna with it.
I guess. Yeah. I guess.
Well, remember, she doesn't have a title, though. Maybe if she wins back the title. I think we're making assumptions here.
Of course we are. But I think they're doing the right thing now. And the more I think about this whole kind of short match, this whole kind of wrestling on the go idea, I think they're doing the right thing. I think we just need to we need to just invest in it. Watch that match. It's a nice match. We've not had these special matches before, so let's just enjoy it. Let's just check the match out, and enjoy it for what it is. And just go with it. See what happens.
At least for now, it seems like Matt Raywald is very similar to what you said about the Good Brothers earlier. They don't need the tag titles. Raywald, I don't think, needs to win right now. That doesn't. I don't know if that does anything for the character, especially a title at this point, unless it is in concert. And he is Homecoming King.
Yeah, he did win
something.
Okay. Right. Okay. Let me put my thumb up from here. Okay. So tomorrow night on Impact, let's have a quick chat about that. We've not actually got very much to talk about because they've not advertised much. However, while we've been on the air, they have released the fact that we're going to get Chris Bay versus Falabat for the BTI match. I'm not sure where this one has come from. I don't think we've had much interaction there. Maybe it's just sort of kind of like one of those sort of one-off matches. I'm assuming we're going to get a Chris Bay win here, being such a favorite. So we'll just have to wait and see how that one pans out. Have we got any thoughts from anyone?
I'm
assuming you've seen it, Bill.
I may have seen it.
Yeah, I may have done. So I'm assuming this is an elevation match for Chris Bay, I would imagine. So looking forward to
good to see Falabat on TV.
Yeah,
definitely. Always good to see Fala.
Yeah.
Always good. Always good to see Fala. So it's all good. Now, this is the interesting thing. Advertise for Impact tomorrow. Even when you watch the promo tomorrow on Impact, all they're actually advertising is, Steve, this is your cue, is, I'll say it again, all they're actually advertising is...
It's Wrestle House 2!
There you go. Yeah, lovely. That almost worked. It almost worked. But anyway, so we got Wrestle House 2. That's pretty much all we've got advertised for tomorrow night. It's interesting. I mean, I know that obviously, I guess it's the Thanksgiving episode, I guess.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing the turkey trot or anything like that for a couple of years now. So I'm assuming we'll probably get a couple of matches, but primarily it's going to be just a sort of kind of fun show. Nice light-hearted.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a 2-hour Wrestle House, which we've never gotten. I know that was the debate last time, is it was piecemealed over weeks. And some people said, well, maybe put it all together, a compilation. That's how they're doing it. It's not going to be piecemeal. It's Wrestle House, 1 week only, and then it's over.
Really? So the entire show is Wrestle House 2.
Series of Wrestle House is tomorrow, and then it's done again.
Yeah, that's how I thought it was going to be. That's how I thought it was.
Unless they change it on the fly, but I believe it's 1 2-hour show. Like now, will it take course over time?
Right.
Like will it be this was a week later? Or will it be? Because you're right, because they did matches every week. So will there be a whole bunch of little matches, or will there not be much matches? Will it just be more like a reality show for 2 hours? Be interesting.
Oh. Interesting. So the fact that all their advertising is Wrestle House 2, that's obviously so that's what it is.
Because the fact of what we got last time, there was far more than a 2-hour content in the last Wrestle
Yeah,
House,
if you put them all together, because the matches usually, once again, like the digital media matches, they were never long. Like they were like maybe 5 minutes. But with other content, sometimes the episodes had 2 or 3 segments of Wrestle House. So you add them all up. Yeah, I'm sure it was longer than that. So, and they could surprise us and have more content after the fact. But I think they're only advertising it as a one-off for right now, at least.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's interesting. I'm looking forward to that. What do you think of that, then, Joe?
I think it's interesting. When I saw that it was a Thanksgiving special from Wrestle House, my immediate reaction was, it's either going to be a 2-hour show just on Wrestle House, or it's going to be it was last year, one episode with it frequently popping up in between matches. But then I could see like the turkey trot match being brought back in as the final match in Wrestle House. At the end of the night. So Johnny Swinger's there, and we all know about Johnny Swinger and the turkey trot. Yeah, it's got to happen if Johnny Swinger's going to be in there, and it's just it's a great way to just chill for the holiday season over in the US, and then come back really hardcore before we break away for Christmas.
Yeah. I'm actually a bit pumped for this now. I want to get up and watch
if you decide to watch it, we're gonna do a Wrestle House review pretty much. Instead of the normal review, it will be the Wrestle House review after the show.
Well, I'll be there, boy. I'll be there. I'm up for it. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so that's pretty much this show, guys. We've gone 2 hours 26. We knew it was going to be a slightly longer one. It was a full review of Turning Point. I'm excited. I thought it was a great show. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. I'm looking forward to Wrestle House 2 tomorrow. So that's going to be great. But guys, please don't forget to head over to the TNI Patreon for exclusive extra content when you sign up. And also make sure you watch tomorrow night's TNI flagship Impact live review, which is going to be a Wrestle House 2 review directly after the show airs on Twitch and YouTube. And also, you just never know who's going to be reviewing that show. I mean, I could be there. Steve could be there. Bill will probably be there. Joe might even be there. But what we do know is that Joe Bone will be there. The Bone Soldier himself will be there. So it's gonna be good. Hopefully Alicia be there as well. You just never know.
And the most important thing is you should be there.
You need to be there. You, because we do this for you. That's for sure. Right. Also, all TNI shows are available for all you Listen on the Go fans as audio only via SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Where can we find you, Brother Joe?
You can follow me on Twitter at Joe-ker empty space. You can jump onto WrestleBuddy and look at some of my stuff still in the archives while I'm still slogging away at this current one. And you can also jump onto Facebook, look for hashtag empty space, hashtag the void, or if you fancy to test your sanity and test your sense of humor, look for a hashtag Daily Giggle and check out the profile with an open mind, and you just might keep your sanity.
Fair play. What about you, Steve? Where can we find you, bud?
You can find me over on Twitter at SimplySteve311, or you can find me, like Joe, over on WrestleBuddy under the Impact Wrestling banner, where I post a new Impact Wrestling article every Thursday.
So look out for that tomorrow, guys. Look out for that tomorrow. And where can we find you, the myth, the man, the legend, Ringside Bill?
You can find me, if you're at an Impact Wrestling show, you can normally find me there. Maybe at a local indie, but on the social medias, mainly the Twitter, is where I'll be found, and that's at my name, William M. Gardner. Sometimes I'm on some other ones, but you'll trip over me there possibly. But no, it was great being on with the UK gang. I know what last time was which number anniversary? 50?
50,
Big 50.
50th. It was our 50th,
I was on.
mate.
Yeah,
and we also, after that, uncovered the missing tape, the lost Tessa Blanchard Impacted.
Yeah. And funny enough,
first appearance on the UK.
Well, funny enough, if you go and dig that one out, I think it's had almost 300 views. It's actually had just almost the same amount of views as the recent one I did with William Morrissey. Funny enough.
Wow, okay.
So that's a very popular one. So if you do want to go and check that out, make sure you do. Now, if you're interested in finding me, Lord Bison 45, that's where you'll find me on Twitter. Yeah, just check out. Oh, hang on, is it this one? No, this one over that way. There. I'm terrible at this backwards stuff. I am absolutely terrible at this backwards stuff. Anyway, just make sure that you check us out at Lord Bison 45 on Twitter. Pretty much where I do everything on there. And of course, you can find me on TNI Review, on the TNI Impacted every single week. And I am starting to go to some indie shows in the UK, guys. So if you want to catch me at any of those, if you see the Bison, come over and say hello. One of my favorite subjects is wrestling. So, I happily talk to anybody about that. So you're more than welcome to come and say hello. I'm hoping to be at the Milton Keynes show that Eric Young is at. So if you're there, come and say hello. Now, please take the time to help us moving up the rankings on YouTube by giving us a thumbs up. And if you're new to us and you like what you've seen, then click the red subscribe button. And don't forget to give the bell a tickle, a squeeze, or a smash to never miss any of the TNI-UK and US teams' great content each and every single week. Don't forget to support the TNI. Don't forget to support TNI by heading over to Spreadshirt. We've got a Spreadshirt store now, and we got some offers on it at the moment. So get yourself over to the Spreadshirt shop. And we've also obviously got prowrestlingtees.com/Total Nonstop Impact. This Friday, Black Friday sales. I believe there's 20% off shirts at the moment. So get yourselves over there. We've got a brand spanking new, very, very cool TNI logo shirt. You'll like that one. It's in like a light blue, really nice.
It looks like.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. That is the Spreadshirt stuff. So go and check out that, eh? Go and check out that. That's the Spreadshirt stuff. November 26th, Black Friday sale. And like I said, we've also got the there you go. Pro Wrestling Tees. We've also got that as well. So 20% off everything else. So we're in that category. So make sure you get over there and get your TNI shirt. Support the show. It does help us, guys, because none of us get paid for doing this. But it does generally sometimes kind of cost us money. So if you can support us, we really do appreciate that. We really do. Okay, so with all that said, I have been Bison. They have been the Joe-ker and Simply Steve, and of course Ringside Bill. And this has been episode 58 of Impacted. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
We're Bison! We are Impacted!